Warning. The following presentation may contain excessive alcohol consumption, obscene language, controversial opinions, heavy metal, and actual wrestling chat. As such, it has been rated M for metal.
Welcome to the Mosh Pit. Welcome along to the latest edition of Mickey's Mosh Pit. As usual, I'm your host, the heavy metal hooligan, Mickey Vago. So it's finally happening. After almost 20 months away, Wrestlezone is coming back. October 9th at the Northern Hotel, Wrestlezone returns with Halloween hijinks. Tickets are on sale now. I do believe they are quite limited. There's been a massive update for tickets so far. You can find the link for tickets on Wrestlezone's Twitter and Facebook pages. 20 months away, we can't wait to get back. I'm sure the fans can't wait to get back. It's going to be a huge night. It's going to be an explosive night. So yeah, like I said, get your tickets and get us along there because I'm sure it's going to be a sellout. It's going to be a riot. As far as the podcast is concerned, I did mention in the last episode that I had a wee list of names that I was trying to get on before the end of the year. I've been in contact with those guys. They've all agreed to it. We just need to set up some recording dates. So hopefully that's the next around 4 or 5 episodes sorted out, which just leaves the final 4 or 5 up until the end of the year. So if there is anyone I've forgotten about who would like to come on and just have a nonsense and have a drink, get in touch. I'm sure we can sort something out. As far as today's episode, it is another heavy metal mixer. We've got a few of the guys on. I did tease in the trailer that we have got an extra man that wasn't on the trailer. He was only on for half the episode or so because he had to go to his bed quite early. He's quite an old man. I'm not going to spoil who it is, so without further ado, we'll just jump straight into it. So here it is, the second heavy metal mixer.
I need to consent.
Aye, I kind of sneak it in there. Get up the off record.
Do you consent? That's an appropriate word for the past year and a half.
The question, at least in Aberdeen, we know how to ask that question, though. In other parts of Scotland, well,
you'd think I would have this, but this is Austin.
No, it's easy. Easy word, short 2 letters, fine, to the point. No, that's fine. Just leave it. Go.
So as you can see, we're here. It's the Mickey's Mosh Pit. We've already started. Fuck the intro as usual.
Fucked it as usual.
So before we get into it, we'll go do the rounds and introduce the guests. So up first is back again for another round. He's still keeping the streets of Twitter clean. It's the very own wrestling police, Scotty Swift.
Tango and Cash.
Next up, we've got the winner of the very first Mickey's Big Birthday Bash quiz. He's still getting mobbed in the streets with that fucking. He's still doing the trophy, but yeah. It's Martyn Clunes.
Wait till I get that trophy and you'll all get to see that Shawn Michaels playgirl pose with the trophy.
Yes, please.
Just you wait.
It is a
Can't wait to see it. You can't wait to see it. I'll just say, I'll replace it with one of those miniature bottles of JD and it'll still cover the whole thing.
Right, next up, with making his debut in the Mosh Pit, it is the guy who I think I'm right in saying has got the most reigns as Wrestlezone Tag Team Champion, I think.
Is there any more? I think it's Tucker or Sean, is it?
I always thought it was you. Because you did that extra run with Thunder at the end there.
Yeah, it's you,
I
Bill.
thought I'd pushed you over. So yeah, we'll go with that. The fact checking on this is...
Okay, if I ruined your intro, I will just go with that.
So it's also the guy I've probably been in most feuds with in Wrestlezone. It's William Sterling. And last up, making his podcast debut, I want to say, not just on the Mosh Pit, because Billy isn't inviting him on, which he's very angry about. He's a former undisputed Wrestlezone champion. He's a former Wrestlezone Tag Team champion.
Look at your notes.
He was in the main event of the the very first Aberdeen Archie at the Beach Ballroom. He's the founder of Wrestlezone. Here we go, Martin. It is Tenacious Johnny Lyons.
All right. Happy to be along. Billy Strachan, you could have had me on, but you'd rather have people who are still in their first week of training rather than have Tenacious one. The Big Stu, Coach Stu, is here exclusively on Mickey Vago's podcast. Let's see the ratings. Go up.
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse podcast.
Mickey
Mouse podcast.
Mickey's Mosh Pit. We're in Mickey's Mouse Pit. It's okay.
Mickey Mouse operation. Hey, Mickey's Mouse trap.
You just dump mice in every 10 minutes on top of you.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so that intro went as well as could be expected.
I'll be honest. I don't think anybody will notice the mistakes. I think it'll be fine.
Seamless.
You know what, Martin? I think you're right.
So as we record this, we're almost into I don't know what the fucking tier 0 or what it fucking is. Level 0 is the word I was looking for.
Level 0
Level
from the
0.
19th
Level 0.
July.
Yeah. But like obviously I've spoken to Scotty and Martin before, but like I said yourself, William and Johnny or Stu, I don't know what we're going by. We'll find out. This is the
Stu
You're the one that said keep to the name.
again. I did again.
Yeah. Listen,
He
everyone knows.
He just called himself Coach Stu, so he's
Yeah.
fucked it himself.
He fucked it first.
Officially. And yes, it's true. I'm English. 3 lines on the shirt. Kayfabe shattered.
Another Mosh Pit exclusive.
Battle of Nations match.
In Scotland. Well, I am actually Scottish. Let's be fair. I am Scottish and English. But poor Andy Williams to be.
Since you're from Fife.
I'm English. It's actually fully Scottish. What a shame. Cheers.
Since you're from Fife, let the boys finally see your webbed feet.
And if I did, they stay firmly under this desk. We're not doing foot fetish stuff. If I put my feet up, before I know it's going to be Pornhub, Big Stu's feet on Pornhub. I'm not doing it.
There's your clickbait.
That's a picture.
It's juice. It won't do Pornhub.
Exactly. At least not the feet. Not the feet.
I know you've got limits, and you got some self-respect still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Semblance is still there.
Tarantino-esque with a foot fetish for Stu there, is it?
Well,
Well,
allegedly, Martin. Allegedly. Well,
always allegedly. Just cover
allegedly.
yourself. But like
Before
I'm
we get
saying,
into all this stuff, I'm just going to quickly say, you know what? It's absolutely brilliant seeing, Bill and Scott and Mickey Mouse and Martin, all in one Zoom meeting. It legit has been over a year since I've conversated because I'm too old for the whole text messaging, Facebook messaging, Twitter, what's Twitter, Instagram. I'm not doing that. It'll get my feet. I'm not into any of that kind of stuff. So it's really all in one little meeting. So hello, guys, again.
aye.
You retired and the world went to fuck.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
You're not blamed.
I come out of retirement and then everyone will go away and bring me back to normal.
Well, like you say, this is the reason I started these, just to like some drinks with the boys and catch up because it's been like a year and a half at this point. I think it's not the same as being in person or being fucking backstage or whatever, but it's something. Especially after the last episode, the episode before that, when Archer got completely fucked, and I was like, aye.
That was amazing. To be fair, it was just in the background, like Dino and Connor are trying to talk about football, or they're talking about fantasy football, and all you hear is Archer in the back going, "I'm fucking 27. I'm 27. I'm fucking 27." It's almost like the realization of like time has finally hit him, and he was just going, "I'm 27. I'm fucking 27."
Do you remember the first time he was drunk? Because we were out
when
with
he
him.
lost his virginity for a queen? Is that
Oh.
queen?
I'll skip that. But nobody goes to Mickey.
We'll come back to that.
Yes, I know
yeah,
this.
okay, yeah.
What's to
No,
Mikey?
we
This is like it's like being in a dream, but you're not asleep, you're awake or something like that.
Yeah, that's what you said to
I
Mikey.
know.
First time Jamie was-
Mikey rolled it back.
And Mikey thought, like,
first
Was it magic mushrooms?
the last episode we did was with Mickey, and he told that exact story.
Yeah, okay.
After being
Cool.
drunk for the very first time.
Yeah, first time he was ever drunk.
It's like just he's like
The
that.
only-
He,
The only reason he kens he's drunk is because he really needs to pee.
I know, absolutely,
This
absolutely
is
loved it.
unfortunately.
He's in the back, like he's in the back and do that, and he starts just telling folk, like telling Dino to fuck off. It's like,
Aye.
all right, Archer, come on, dude.
Just
Ah,
a complete
fuck off.
fucking nuisance. Just
Oh
It was
god.
so funny. It's like I usually listen to them, and I was like halfway through that one, and I went, "Kev, I need to watch a video of this scene. I've got to." So like I stuck it on the laptop. I got him. I was like, I'm on the laptop, and just you could tell by his face he was just totally gone. It's the best thing
Yeah,
ever. It's like, fucking love.
midway
I love
through,
anyway, but Archer anyway, but drunk Archer is even better.
like midway through, I said, I mentioned it looks like something like a White Snake fucking 83 video. This week I realised exactly what he looks for. He looks like a Poundland version of Brett Michaels.
He's exactly the same at training. Ned's changed maybe though. He's just Archer.
Aye. I was going to ask.
Poundland version.
Yeah.
All thought to my head was the Poundland version of Bret Hart. You know, from that T-shirt Scott wore all those years ago.
I still have it
Bret Hart.
somewhere.
He still
I
got that
have it.
T-shirt.
Oh yeah, Poundland Bret Hart. Fucking piece of shit.
What's fired?
There he is.
There's a shovel.
The absolute dregs of Scottish wrestling. Brave cunt.
Never mind it. Like, as we record this, you can go to their show next week.
Hey.
Yeah, it's
I
okay,
got
let's
Bret
do
Hart
it,
doing the
boys.
show.
Already going to be 25 fans there. There is no space for anyone else. That's it. 25 fans. That's the
Sold it.
friends and family and Sesha's brothers and sisters of that family are going to be there. We can't get a seat, lads. It's sold out.
I'll get a booking.
What, for 1 pence?
Doesn't matter, fucking one.
For that 1 pence in the envelope.
I've had no contact training since last year. That's fine. We'll be fine. On we go.
You know, you'll still probably steal the show, mate. You'll still steal the show. That's the thing.
It wouldn't be fucking difficult. It's not a compliment you saying that, but thank you. God,
Aye,
fuck
you earn
off,
that 1 pence,
honestly.
mate. You earn that 1 pence.
Oh God, I'll invest it. I'll invest it, and next year it'll be 2p, then it'll be 4p.
Oh,
By the time I'm dead, I'll have £1.
And it'll be worth
Just-
more than the company you work for.
Well, there you go. Like people in a hurry to be the first ones back, regardless of whether it's the right thing to do or not.
Nah,
We knew it would
nah.
happen. We spoke about this. We know what happened, and so is keep the past. So
It is. But like
You know what I
I said
mean?
before starting recording, you can't exactly who was going to be at it before fucking.
Oh, yeah, we knew that. Even I was surprised that it was literally the Friday after the flipping month.
yeah,
Like, wow, man. How is that possible?
especially with their roster depth just now. So,
Yeah,
We're back.
It's
and
seamless.
we're back, and we're live, Sid.
All right. So, in all seriousness, lads, you know, I know you're all waiting for it. It's been a year and a half since you've had the big Stu in the room, in the Zoom, and you've all got your first questions. You know, how's Big Stu doing? You know, is his knees okay? Is his back okay? We heard he's into that veganism hippie shit. You know,
Right.
what's he actually up to? You know what I mean? Fire away, lads.
Okay,
I can
well-
see Martin's cogs going in his head.
I mean,
God, you're
well,
too long.
Mr. Vago, if I may have the floor for a moment.
Indeed, and the floor is yours. Proceed.
You were very kind enough to invite me on your podcast, just me and you, I told a story about a certain person who was removed from shows and was a bit of a wanker at the Wrestlezone show at the Summerhill Hotel.
You did, yeah.
I did. Now, obviously, I said that the reason he was removed from shows wasn't my story to tell. However, someone on this call, it is their story to tell. So, Mr. Lyons,
I have no idea what we're talking about here. I have no idea.
The story that when Kongo Kev was taken off of Wrestlezone shows as punishment.
Oh man, really?
You're
This
fucking
story
pal, Kev.
It's never been told online ever, I don't think. The proper story. But you know what? I've had a few drinks, a few more drinks, and let's fucking go for it. All right, so
Yeah.
here it is. So, oh fuck, this could get. I need to watch myself because the way I would tell this in private, the way I'm going to tell this here, I'm going to have to cut down a little bit. However, all right. So it's no secret that I founded Wrestlezone back in the dark days of what we did, and Wrestlezone back then wasn't obviously what it became. It became a much better company. Back in those olden days, it was literally me and Kev. Kev helped me do training and so forth with mixed results, and I'm not going to go too deep into that unless you really want to. You guys will.
Anyway, you can talk about the mixed results as well later on. Just right.
In this particular instance, I was taking off shows. So a certain person who runs PBW, Ross Watson, Kid Fight, fuck it, you all know who he is. He had asked us to do a show in Newcastle. Now, the reason I asked us to do the show is because the ring we had has a lower setting and the Newcastle roof was lower. So we had to do that. So he couldn't do it himself. So he wanted us. He said, bring the ring and bring 2 wrestlers. So obviously I was one of those wrestlers. I picked Dean Morris is a name for the past. No one will probably remember. And Kev. None of that time. And
probably the 2 wrestlers
is Kongo Kev. Anyway, to make it cost effective, the money we were getting wasn't that much. It was enough to cover the fuel, cover the cost of the wrestling, and a tiny bit of profit. Tiny bit of profit. But Kev wanted us to take a second car down because he wanted his girlfriend and all that to come as well. And we were like, it's not cost effective, Kev. We can't do it. And he huffed and he actually took a big huff about this. He was like really, really unhappy. So all right, let's wait. We're taking 1 van, 3 seats. That's it. All right. So supposed to meet him at 7 in the morning. Myself and Dean Morris go to the unit, just me and him, ourselves. We load up the van with all the ring stuff by ourselves. We're totally fucked. So because we're
just you two,
just us two, only 2 of us.
Just you two,
just us 2.
Why?
No one else would turn up. So we drive to pick up Kev. So we're supposed to pick up Kev at 7 o'clock. We're like, it's like 7:30, so we're like half an hour late because of this. So pick him up. He gets in the van and he's hot. He's fucking raging, right? And he puts his earphones in. Now, I don't see the earphones, to be fair, that he's in his lugs. And I can see he's raging that I'm late. And maybe me, I'm thinking, let's keep it jovial. Let's keep it lighthearted. So I start telling a couple of jokes as I do, as Stu does. So, hey, Kev, blah, 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 blah. Nothing. Get nothing, right? I said, so, Kev, blah, blah, blah. Nothing. And I'm starting to get fucking annoyed here. I'm like, 7:30 in the morning, you're fucking ignoring me. So I said, Kev. Nothing. I goes, Kev. And then he finally hears me and he pops his earphone out, which I didn't know he had in, to be fair. And he goes, what, like really aggressively in my face. So I'm already pissed off, right? So I was like, you know what, fuck this. So I hit the brakes of the van as hard as I can. I go, you know what, Kev, get the fuck out of my van. We'll go to Newcastle without you. So I said to him. So he goes, fucking fine. So he gets out of the van. We open the doors at the back where his bag is. He takes his bag, but he's really angry at me. So he grabs one of the spars of the ring. Now this ring at this point was still quite new. It cost us like $2.5 grand. Like cost me everything I had at the time. I was total skint. And he grabs a spar and launches it, boom, on the road. Big fucking sparks fly everywhere. And I'm looking at Kev, I'm looking at the fucking spar. I'm like, what the fuck? So I was quite angry. So I give him a shove. And I swear, this shove, right, would make your granny move. It literally wouldn't make your fucking 3-year-old child move. So I shove him. But he does this big dramatic 3-step, fall, backwards roll back to his feet. And I'm like, oh, fucking hell. So he gets up, he's got these pinfold-like glasses, takes them off, puts them in his pocket, walks up to me, and boom, punched me right in the nose. So I'm just like, motherfucker! I fucking explode. Double leg takedown, fucking boom, headlock, punch, fuck you. I punch him like 15, 20 times in the face over and over again. He gets out of the van, and he's like, lads, what the fuck are you doing? And I mid-punch him like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this is ridiculous. So I stop. I let him go. I go, Kev, this is stupid. I put my hands to my side, and he pops me in the nose again. Fucking pops me, busts my nose, busts my lip. I'm like, motherfucker. So he gets in the van, and he locks the van. Just him in the van. And I'm like, Kev, we've got to get Newcastle. What the fuck are you doing? He's like, no letting you in. Are you serious? It's like, open the fucking van. His arms across. I'm like, oh my God. So I was like, I'm looking at my time. We're like, well late for Newcastle. I was like, Kev, fuck it. You can wrestle. You can come. Fine. He opens the fucking door. Let me and Ian reload the fucking van with a spar. I'm like, you mother. So I have to reload it. We drive. Both of us, our faces are covered in blood, like bust noses, bust slips. We're driving. We get to this like garage halfway in Newcastle, and we both walk in stony silence. All the people are looking at us like, fuck's wrong with these guys? We've got bust faces and stuff, eh? Like, because it was early in the morning, I'd actually tore my bicep from here to here. So it actually went all purple. So now I've got to perform a match in Newcastle with, you know, the PBW, who at the time were considered the better wrestlers, you know, than us. And I've got now to take bumps with one arm, and it was just fucking horrendous. So I have to balance it, lads. You know, I have to balance it. Obviously, we punished him. Well, we all got together. We talked about it. The very next show, he was at the time the Wrestlezone champion. We took him off the show and we made him sell raffle tickets. And to his credit, he did do it. And then we put him in a shit arse match against the paedophile Colin Mackay a show after. And then, you know, took it on the chin. And
That's right.
Yeah, he might not be friends after he's listened to that whole fucking story I told there. But we did become, you know, friends after that. Even though from time to time I was aware of his temper. So I was always a bit more like, gotta be careful what I say to this guy. I can't have banter, because if I banter too much, he might punch me in the nose. So I was always aware of that. But there you go. There's the story. Did I tick the boxes for you?
That is exactly how I remember it being told to me the first time. That story hasn't changed at
I've
all.
never heard that before. That's fucking tremendous.
In 12 years.
Was he annoyed because you were late? Was that why he was annoyed at you?
Yeah, because
his golfer. Why didn't you just come and help with the ring?
Well, help with the ring. Honestly, I would have to. He'd have to go. It's like, actually gone forever. Get the fuck.
Once you boys bought the company, that was the main reason.
Yeah,
why.
I know. I know you're in a tight position. And we were lucky that we had a good support group, and that's one of the things that you never had, was a good support group where you were.
Yeah,
and that's what you needed, and that's what we've got, and we're lucky to have it.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally me.
Honestly, man, just hearing that story again makes my fucking blood boil. I fucking hate that cunt. I fucking hate that. I just do. I mean, to hear that, it's like, what a fucking horrendous. It's just not important in the grand scheme of things. The only thing that should be important there is making the company successful. And he was thinking about himself. I cannot abide that fucking behavior.
And it's that kind of thing, you know. I've got the same. I'm working with Andy now, yeah. Andy Wilder, we're watching, and I'm basically the same role to Andy as Kev was to me. And I'm very aware, you know, this is his business. This is his finances. You know, whatever I think, if he wants to change shit. It's his business, you know, and like, I'm very aware of that. And I constantly try and be humble all the time. And Andy, to his credit, gives me a lot of free rein in the classes I run. Doesn't tell me how to do it. But then I'm aware that it's his business. If he did tell me, don't do this, don't do that, in a second I would do it. I wouldn't have any attitude about it. I would just say, yeah, no worries. You know, like, and I think that's a big thing with wrestling. Like, we all get such big egos, some people in wrestling, and you know what? It's no fucking, like, be humble.
It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like, actually, Andy was
talking about pants rolling about.
You know, he was telling one of the trainees who was, I'm not going to mention the trainee because it's very, very relevant what they're doing right now, but, you know, they weren't happy about doing the position in a certain thing, you know, enhancement. And he said, look at Stu. He's like, Stu's retired, but if I said to Stu, get yourself in shape for 6 months and I just need you to do an enhancement match for me, do you think he would do it? And it's like, yeah, Stu would do it. I would. You know, back in the days when you were doing the big Wrestlezone things, I remember you had a big issue with a wrestler who didn't want to do the warm-up show. You know, like, if you'd asked me to do it, like, I'm main event the first Wrestlezone show. If the second show you said to me, can you be on the pre-show for like 20 fans? Yeah, no worries. You know what I mean? Like, fucking leave your egos at the door. Your egos are for your characters. Let's have egos as a character. But let's actually, it's not real. Fucking fuck the egos and be humble. That's my biggest advice to anybody.
Agreed.
You can't go ahead and debate with people whether winning or losing a match, but you're not really winning or losing.
Exactly. You know, but you want to make it look good. Like, I take great pride in every match I've ever been in. You know, like, winning or losing.
Bagel.
I don't like losing.
But the thing is,
especially against certain people.
It's true. Like, we're talking about the egos and stuff. It's like the simple fact is there's people involved in this who don't get it.
Yeah.
Now they might be involved in it and they might be doing it, but because there's no governing body to regulate who gets to do it, there's people involved in this who don't get it. And I fucking stand by that because they've proven it. And it's like, I don't think you understand the concept of what wrestling actually is. It isn't actually about you. It's about the whole thing. It's about the whole show. It's about the whole presentation.
I've said this numerous times that you keep hearing this thing, wrestling's for everybody. It's not for everybody. Like being a fan is for everybody. Being in the wrestling isn't for everybody. There's some folks just not cut out for it, and they've no business fucking doing it.
Like, the last year and a half has proven that with a shadow of a fucking doubt. It isn't for everyone. Some people.
I'll tell you a couple of quick stories about people. It's not for everyone. Like I had this trainee come down into a school that I was running, and he was like, "So what do you want to do? You want to learn to be a wrestler?" "Oh yeah. I've got this idea, mate. I'm going to be this hardcore wrestler, and I'm going to be like fucking Sabu, and I'm going to use chairs, I'm going to use tables, I'm going to fucking do barbed wire." And I'm like, "All right, mate, that's good. All right, let's have a look at your first bump." And he took his first bump, and he's like, "Oh, it's really sore." I'm like, "Yeah." Didn't see him again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what they think. Do they think the ring's a fucking bouncy castle that they can take their fucking big silly bumps on and do all their hardcore shit? It's like, man, it takes a lot of fucking work. You know, if you want to be a hardcore.
You remember that feeling from your Kirkcaldy days, Stu, and half the trainees back then were just idiots.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, you know, they were coming up, I'm going to telling you what they were going to do, what their characters are going to be, and they would moan if they weren't on shows, but they didn't show up to training. And here's like me and Scotty and other guys, like 5 of us in a car driving 2 hours down, do like a 6-hour training session
with no breaks.
I
wouldn't give you breaks. You know, I would give you no breaks.
They're moaning because they didn't get to do a character. You know?
I know. It makes me. I think it's not a thing of the past. I think it's still a thing of the future, the present. I mean, there's a lot of trainees right now who think they do 2 or 3 months of training and then they're going to be on shows, and it's just not the reality.
Can we call me? I have these trainees that have got merch. It's like, why have you got merch? You're a trainee. Just get back to your fucking box.
Exactly. I mean,
they need for it.
Occasionally, you get that special trainee who does have it, right? Who's super athletic, who could do everything first time. That's pretty rare, you know. And most of the guys go work at it. And then you'll get somebody who's been trained for 3 years who's not in a show, and someone does it for 6 months who is. That's the way it goes. If it was a real sport, a real fighting sport, let's say, you're going to get those super special athletes, you're going to get the ones who are ravaged, who don't make it. And wrestling's no different. You've got to train, you've got to be in the gym, you've got to be fit, you've got to be ready. And just most folk who come to wrestling training, that is the only training during the week. They don't go to the gym, they turn up for fucking 2 hours on a Thursday night or whatever, and they think they've trained. Fuck off. Get to the gym, get some cardio, get a fucking body. Like that's what triggers me, man. And that's really why I retired, because I didn't want to do the grind anymore, you know, like in the gym all the time, looking good, working hard, and you know, eating. And I wasn't the best of it either. I wasn't, but I did try my best. I was in the gym 4 or 5 times a week when I was wrestling all the time. So yeah, anyway, that's what I ran over on that one.
No, I agree with pretty much all of that, to be honest with you. I think we've been quite lucky with not having people coming in to, you know, like to train thinking they're gonna, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I mean, back in the day we had people coming in with their homemade t-shirts. I was like, oh, okay, that's fine, that's really good. You haven't done anything yet. But
not naming that person, are you? Not naming that person.
Oh no, Johnny Bugs.
Oh, yeah.
And he came in for one time and disappeared.
Yeah.
But again, hopefully he's wised up a little bit since then. But coming in with your homemade t-shirt, or me and Mason be a tag team, it's not the best. It's not a good first impression. Generally, we do okay for people not doing that. But it's like you said, like, you know, coming in once a week doing it and not doing anything else and expecting there to be improvement. It's like a lot of the improvement has to come from what they do in their own time, because there's plenty of there's 24 hours in a day. It's how you time manage it to make it work for you. That's their responsibility. We can't do that for them when we're not with them. But for those 2 hours, like we will teach you wrestling, but we're not going to teach you everything else that goes with it, because we don't have enough time, especially right now, because we've only got people in once a week because we're in bubbles, and you know, hopefully things start to relax soon and we get the contact training going soon. But some of the boys are in once a week, but the guys that I've got just now have been really good for doing stuff out with, and you know when they have, because you can tell a month later, 2 months later, okay, that's a lot easier for you now than it was when you first came in. So you can tell the people that are making the effort, because you can't bullshit us now, because we know.
Exactly.
We've seen the people who film themselves working out. They put up on social media, right? And then as soon as they stop working out, they don't put it on social media, so we know you're not working out.
Yeah.
And no, it's all a lot of it's for show. You know, like a lot
We're-
of it's just to be seen doing stuff. And also I think they think that like other companies or other promoters will see it and it'll give them a little boost to, or maybe they'll book me. Yeah, but not of it's fucking just for show and for bullshit. And again, if you've been around long enough, it's easy to see through people's bullshit. And the people people who are half our age think they're being clever. I know this is new for you, but I've seen it before. And
Yeah,
so have
exactly.
you. We've seen it, mate. We've done this before. It's not new. Try something different, because you're not going to fool us. But the ones
This is
who
turning
just
into our
but the
Judge
ones who got
Riddle
on with
thing
it,
again. This is our Judge Riddle thing when you were sticking up for the bigger, chunkier guys, and everyone should have a little shot. And I'm like, no, they shouldn't. Get rid of them.
He was doing
Finally
that
agree
because
with my argument.
he was doing that because he wanted the fucking money, and who ruined it? You fucking did.
30 seconds in, he's fucked it. Oh, it's fine. And now he's his babyface situation completely. That's good. Oh, well, at least I'm on the telly.
Yeah, exactly.
We've never been body pervs
That
up
was
here,
fun.
but you have to be able to at least be able to do a match. You've got to have cardio to do a match.
Like I
feel
said
like
when the first
identity. I mean, obviously, fitness, have a match is still a thing, but Wrestlezone, as opposed to other Scottish promotions, you're very much about your character work and your storylines and your planning. Like, I think Wrestlezone, I'm not being biased, I think they've got the best characters of any promotion. Like, you look at any Glasgow promotion, you've got the same fucking cookie cutter guy constantly going, the same thing, you know the stuff I'm talking about. They've all got their black pants on.
I'm pants and kickpads guy.
Moves, easy pish. It's like, I really feel that if the rest of the country took more chance on Wrestling talent, and the characters would actually have a lot more diversity in their matches. That's why I honestly think, and I think it's just because maybe I'm a little biased. This company, I love Wrestlezone, I always will. It's always the company dear to my heart. But I feel like there's way better characters, way more interesting characters, and characters are a part of wrestling as well.
Of course it is. I think it's also because you're going to be influenced by what you call your wrestling. I know, like me and Bill, our wrestling, the wrestling that we like is not necessarily what the wrestling is today. Now, the wrestling today is really good, but it's just not our wrestling.
Everybody's good now.
Yeah. Oh no, everyone's good now. And we spoke about this before. Like, that's not a dig. Like, everyone's amazing. Everyone's doing stuff I could never fucking dream of even doing. But it's just not. It's just not my wrestling. It's
That's the
not my
thing.
wrestling.
You need to wrestle for the crowd that's there in front of you. Like the crowd at Wrestlezone to get in they're gonna bite for all these big kids. They're not interested in all these fucking fancy fucking. You can get a million near fall. They're not interested. If they're a good story they can get into, they'll be all over it.
Yeah, about the characters.
Aye.
Yeah. And that's why those fans are so passionate. Like that last retirement match I had is always going to be dear in my heart because like the passion and outpouring, like that's actually what's going to stop me ever coming back to retirement. Like, how can I come out of retirement after the fans and you guys? Like Bill, you're the first guy came out of the curtain. You're a heel. You broke character to like congratulate me and retiring. Like, fucking hell, I can't piss on that. The fans on the
real. It was real.
Yeah,
it was
real.
Stu.
Definitely,
it was real.
Yeah,
like everyone in the building knew that.
Yeah, I know, and that's what stopped me coming out for one more match. I think because as much as I love this, and I can't piss on that. I just can't. That's too much. That means too much to me.
Yeah, it's difficult to. It's such a perfect ending. Why come back and not ruin it? It wouldn't ruin it. Yeah. But it would take the edge off it. It would take the edge off it.
It would have to be something like what Len Ironside did, like a massive show with loads of fans and a really good storyline reason to do it. It'd have to be something like that.
But maybe let time go as well. It's still really fresh.
Exactly. Because it's been
easy when you're old.
Really.
Yeah.
I mean, when Len came back, it was much later on.
Exactly.
It was, like if you were to do something like that, we're talking like another 10 years from now. So I mean, but no, it would be 10 years. So that kind of does change the whole dynamic of it. Like maybe, like 10 years from now, I won't still be doing it. I'll still be. I'll still be around in some capacity, and I'll still be contributing in some way, or have that massive rage-induced heart attack, and that'll be done. Because that's
Nah,
how
we'll
I'm
get
going.
the-
I'm going back. Mass heart attack, rage.
We'll,
That's how I'm
we'll,
going.
we'll get the beach ballroom to take your picture down from outside the venue, and that can be your reason
Never.
for coming
That's
back.
immoralised. He stretches hardcore Holly. It's fucking
Because obviously,
immoralised.
Is it still there?
you've obviously
Yep,
not been in
still
Aberdeen
there.
for like 2 years. It's still there. I was down a couple of weeks ago. I was
I
running
saw it.
ran past, and it's like it's fucking Stuart Hardcore Holly's still there. Amazing.
Yeah, I
That
did
match
pop
was
when I saw that first time. I marked for that. It was that's cool as fuck. That is
What
cool.
about
That's
school
what-
Wrestlezone?
Can I tell the fans about the match before this like thing cuts off again? So obviously wrestling's booked Hardcore Holly, and everyone knows about his rep, right? How hard he is and stuff like that. And I'd watched the YouTube video the night before how he got the guy from the trainee guy when he kicked him in the face. So he got him on his
Matt
Capitelli.
Capitelli.
Thank you. Kicked him in the face.
Yeah.
So that was very fresh in my head. So I'm thinking, there's no fucking way that he's doing that to me. No fucking way. Anyway, we're backstage and we're talking about the match. And he's like, all right. He goes, I'm going to chop you. Don't you block my fucking chops. Don't you block my fucking chops. So I was like, no worry, Bob. I won't block your chops. That's okay. So we'd agreed. We agreed to 4 fucking chops we agreed to, 1 each corner. That was what the agreement was. So we go in, and I thought, I'll be smart here. I put loads of baby oil on so it doesn't hurt so much, right? It gets me in the first corner. Here comes the chop. It slips on my baby oil chest. It gets me in the fucking throat. I'm like, like this. And he grabs me by the hair, and he whispers to my ear, and he goes, you're one slimy motherfucker, ain't you? And then he fucking wailed on me. He goes, 1, 2, 3. I think it was like 5 fucking chops. I'm like, oh, fuck. So then I crawl to the next corner, another 5 chops, boom, boom, boom. I can see my chest starting to go purple. I'm like, oh, fuck this shit. I crawl to the next corner, 5 more fucking chops. So anyway, the next spot, Aspen Faith is supposed to come out on the apron and take a chop to the chest, take the bump. Now, he'll deny this, but here's the fucking truth, right? He's shiting himself. So he comes out in the chest, and he preempts the bump. He starts falling backwards, and he gets chopped right in the fucking face. So I see him get chopped in the face, and I see his handbrake go boom. And I'm in pain, but I'm fucking trying not to laugh. I'm like covering my face, fucking corpse, and like laughing my ass off. I'm getting chopped in the face. It's like, yes.
For his reputation, he was a great guy. He was a really nice guy.
He backstage after that, he was like, he was my best friend. He's like, fucking great man, slapped me in the back, great guy. Enjoyed it.
I might be wrong, but I think like a big part in that match happening was just getting a kick out of it. Like Holly might just chop the fuck out of Stu.
Yeah, that was me.
That's the extent of it. No, also it'll be a good match and it'll be funny. It's quite possibly that was the extent of the logic.
That picture,
yeah.
There's that picture of you flexing in front of Holly, just with like that gaping face. It's just amazing. It's just everything. It's like that's the picture from that anarchy that everybody's going to remember.
There we go.
Okay.
Right, we're back again.
Yes, Kieran, I do consent. Oh, sorry, what was that?
Oh God. Laugh out loud. I said I'll pretend you said you were 18.
So just while we're talking about Aberdeen Anarchy stories, can I tell one more that you guys know, but the fans will not know? So as the fans will be aware, we booked X-Pac, Sean Waltman, on a show, and I had to do a 6-man tag with him. So he was a little bit, let's say, under the influence backstage, all right, and no one wanted to talk to him. So they're all like, Stu, you can do the shine with them. For everyone who doesn't know what that means, like basically the start, right? I've got to do the start with them. So I've got to wake him up. So I was like, Sean, we need to plan this match, Sean. And he's like, all right, man, let's do that, man. And then honestly, he fucking went, boom. He said, all right, man, so we'll do this fucking move. Can you take a suicide dive? I was like, sure, man. I'm going to fucking suicide dive you, man. And then I'm going to give you this kick to the face. You okay with that, man? I'm like,
Was he?
and he was so enthusiastic. I was like, okay. So we got a plan. Yeah. And then he goes back to sleep again. He's about to sleep. I was like, all right, okay. So I'm warming up, and I watch him like 10 minutes before the match. The poor guy's hobbling around. Like, I feel really bad for this guy. Like, fuck, this guy looks fucked. I'm in the ring, fucking with 1,000 people there. His music plays, and he's fucking giving it fucking big jumps, like the guy was like he was 21 years old again. It was amazing to watch. I thought amazing to watch. Anyway, the reason I tell the story, so the first part of the match, I've got to do the headlock spot with him, and then he gives me the crotch drop. I give him the kick to the gut, slap on the head up again. I'm really excited. 1,000 fans. So I'm like, yeah, let's go. So I go for the kick to the guts. I boot him straight in the balls. And I just, he goes, ugh. I slap on the headlock and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. And he's like, it's okay, brother. Let's just go. And I was like, oh. So I remember the suicide dive. I'm fucking shitting him. Like, if I drop fucking X-Pac, I'm dead. And he comes out like, and I catch him. Like, I was like, grabbing, hugging him. Like, oh, thank God, thank God. It's such a good, that was a great memory. Great match.
He just got, whatever was wrong with him then, he just got that surgery done. Like,
yeah. He's still done a lot of things. He didn't call it in. He may have been a bit fucked, but he did a really good match.
He didn't call it in.
No, he didn't call it in, no. Although, like, from the apron, it wasn't obvious that you kicked him in the nuts.
No, we had it really well.
But watching it back, it's like, oh, you did. But I tried. Go ahead.
And I'm trying to find the footage. I can't find it. But you can see me whispering in his ear. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Right, so Stu, I was saying that the picture of you with Holly with the pull-up banner. So we get a new one, then we'll keep they'll keep the old one, but cut it out and hang it up at the academy. So as you come in the door in the lobby of the academy, to the right is the banner of you and Holly on the wall. So it's still up there. And it is a cracking picture.
We're going to tier 0. I've got to come up at some point and do something with you guys, because like I'm not seeing you in the flesh for such a long fucking time, and I've never actually.
Well, that was
probably.
Yeah, we've changed it now.
We spoke about, and then everything stopped. So yeah,
we've taken down a wall now.
Yeah, I did see the pictures of that. That looks amazing. So you can do the little shows and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get a lot of people in there. It's quite intimate, but it gives us somewhere else to. Because I mean. There's no travel involved. There's no travel involved for the guys and stuff. And it's a nice little. I mean, apart from, sorry, Vago comes from Montrose, but you know, for some of the guys, it's local. So you just need to move to Aberdeen, do you? That's what you need to be doing.
Come on, there's a lot of guys like the first match. Because like a lot of what you can do in training, like you can only do so much in training. You have to go in front of a crowd to get that experience. So even if it's a small crowd, they'll gain that experience.
Oh, definitely. Again, I'll be happy to have any kind of crowd at this point, because it's been. I mean, our last show was March 7th of 2020.
Crazy.
So that's almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything in front of a crowd. So God knows how the first one back will be, whenever that is. But I'm sure.
Whenever it is, whenever it is, I think it's going to be hot. I mean, like the fans are going to be.
I hope so.
And it'll be. So. Can you imagine like the adrenaline being the first guy out in that first show at Wrestlezone? Like, you better good cardio because you're going to be blown up. If you get to the edge of the load, you'll be like, fuck.
Oh yeah.
They'll be fighting to be on the pre-show that time.
Yeah.
Funny that. It's funny how that works.
It's like I want to be any
the pre-show.
There won't be any complaints from.
Pre-show means? No, the pre-show means you're booked.
Oh, just spell you want to say what I just said.
There won't be any complaints from Blank on that one, will there? What I say?
Yeah,
we all know. I will say it. Fuck it. What's his name? What's his wrestling name? I know his real name. I can't remember what his wrestling name was. But you know what? He fucked it for himself because he's actually quite talented in a lot of ways. And because of his reluctance to do a pre-show, you know, he could have had years more out of that, and he could have like climbed again if he put the work in. But fuck, man, some folks' egos.
I don't know who we're speaking about.
Yeah,
we're speaking about.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I'll just say it, Jamie Heath. I forget what his working name was. I don't remember. That's how forgettable he was. No one remembers what he was. Fucking Aspen Face tag partner for years.
Oh, Midas.
There you go. James Midas. Fucking hell. I couldn't remember.
We weren't doing pre-shows when he was there. We weren't doing pre-shows when he was about.
No. What it was, I don't think I'll mind me talking about it because we're spoken about it and it's fine now because Hart wasn't in it. But the Anarchy 2014 Anarchy and the
Dynamite.
VIP was Midas.
Dynamite.
Yeah,
Dynamite against Midas. and Midas was hungover, and that was the point where he just didn't care anymore. You know, he didn't. And then it got to the point where he just said to me, "Can we had fallen out over something? I thought one way, he thought another way, and then his heart wasn't in it." And there's Lucas time to go. I still speak. I mean, I speak to him. You speak to him.
Oh, he's a nice guy. I would chat to him. But the thing is, he's
like
not it because he wasn't getting booked in the preferable positions he wanted to be in. You know, and that's what it's all about. I remember, like, when the company first could call you to Aberdeen properly. Like, I think I jobbed every fucking match for a year and a half. I didn't like my heart didn't go out of it. That's the way it was, you know. That was my role at that time.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The thing is, here's, again, if you think the only way to get over it is to win, you fucked it and you're a shit worker. Right,
exactly.
You go.
So I did a year and a half a job.
It is actually, it's actually as simple as that.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, I built back up. I became champion and I headlined the fucking first big Aberdeen Anarchy shows. So, like, you can't put your nose up at that. Like, I would job to anybody. I wouldn't give a shit. You know, like...
It's not real.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
It's mental.
That's the problem, that there's so many people, like, and this doesn't just count for in Scotland. This counts for all over. There's so many people that get involved in this that are like, they think they're hard cases, and then they can't accept the whole idea of losing a fake fight.
Yeah, exactly.
And they think, oh, but my mates are coming along. I've got my mates coming along. I don't want to lose. It's like, it's basically it's predetermined. It's not real.
Or it's that, or it's
like,
I'm losing, but I need to look strong. Fuck off, just fucking lose. That'd be a bad one. Just fucking lose.
Oh, Vigo.
No, like Vigo has to win. Like, no, Vigo has to look strong in Montrose though, so it's fine.
Always politic in Montrose.
The thing is, you know the kind of types, like some of the like, in terms of like WWF, WWE, some of the hardest guys in the world have done jobs all over the place, and it doesn't matter. You know, how many people just beat Haku? Probably the hardest guy ever to be involved in this.
Yeah, true.
I was a big job guy.
Haku, Barbarian.
But there's some like 19-year-old boy from fucking Gifnick. It's like, oh, I don't want to lose a match. I don't want to lose. I've got mates coming along. It's like, settle down, son. You know, it's like, come on, it's not real.
People that get big egos, if they think they're good, is it? Well, good subjective anyway.
Aye.
It isn't real. You're not good if you win a lot of matches. Yeah. Is chocolate ice cream good or bad? It depends if you like chocolate ice cream or strawberry ice cream. You know?
Yeah.
It's true.
And it goes back to what is said about...
I think Hockey Talk Man's great. No, he wasn't. Well, I think he's good. So how can I be wrong if that's what I feel?
The thing is, and like Stu said, Stu was saying earlier on, I didn't want to interrupt, but Stu said earlier on about, we do characters. And we do that. So that means that, somebody's character will go on a spell where they're maybe nae at the top of the cards, they're nae at a main event. They might be on the pre-show, they might be on first, second, fourth, or fifth, right? But then it'll come round again where they'll be figured in, and they'll work their way back up. Because why? Because characters get over.
You can win all the time.
You can go. You
can win.
So it's the exact opposite of, like, people are critical now about 50-50 booking, and it's like, yeah, quite rightly, you can't hate some guy like, over 10 weeks losing 5 times, winning 5 times, it doesn't mean anything. At some point you will go on. At some point you will go on a spell where you win a lot of matches, but then after a while, after a fact, you will then start winning some matches. You will get momentum, and God forbid, people get behind. You start doing the first half main event. You start working your whip. You maybe do the fourth match as well, because that's a prime position for folk. A lot of people don't seem to think it is, but it is. And then eventually you work your way back up to main events. But so many folk didn't realise that. They just think oh, if I'm losing, then people aren't going to support me. They're negative. And this is, again, you mentioned earlier on, trainees. Somebody mentioned trainees with merch, or you've had one match, you've got merch. This is the problem, that I don't want to lose. Why? Because nobody will buy my merch. It's like, well, get really good, hold on for a year, and then loads of folk will buy your merch. Yeah. Rather than worrying about one guy now, worry about the 50 folk in a year's time that will buy your t-shirt, or will buy your bandanas or your pictures or whatever.
Because when we're losing, it's the last move. It's the
it doesn't
really fucking matter. Like, they're going to buy your merch on whether they like your character. You know, and like you've pretty much got control of that. I mean, the bookers might have a vision of what they want, but you control your character. You control how you act. You know, like, and that's what the fans buy into. They're buying into your character. If they want to buy merch, it's because they like you, not because the last move you were pinned for a 3 count.
Well, Stu, we're all right. The 6 of us, we're all wrestling fans, right? You go and let's forget that we were ever involved in wrestling, right? You go to an indie show. Are you going to buy the merch of the guy in black punts and kickpads with no personality, who, when he does a big move, just goes, "Come on," and that's all he does? That's all he does. Or Or are you going to buy something by, God forbid, dare I say, the Sistos, who come out and have got personality and they're funny? If you get a D, who entertains you more? Oh, they were quite funny. I'll maybe buy a picture, or I'll buy a badge, or I'll buy something.
Rather than, like I say, the kids.
Rather than some skinny boy in, like I say, kick pads, black punts. If I didn't do anything other than it's not to bury anybody because I've got nobody specific in mind. But we've seen so many folk come up to Wrestlezone, right, and they've done maybe once. They've maybe been looking at a second time, and they come out and you send them out and they go, and you ask them to do crowd work because they're working as a baby face, and at the start they'll go. And then for the rest of the match, they'll do fuck all.
I know.
No, well, come to think of it, you worked with one of them. It was Andy Anderson is a perfect example.
That's so weird. I was thinking
he's not involved in wrestling anymore, so it's fine to say. It's like it's not a criticism of the boy because he wasn't taught to do that. So he wasn't taught to do crowd work, so it's not his fault.
But the thing is, he had a good body and he had a good look, but he had zero charisma. Yeah. Zero charisma, zero crowd work, and no one gave a shit. I was the heel in that match. Yeah. He was the babyface, but more people cared about me in that match than they did about him. And I'm trying to make him look good and like sell his moves, and they didn't give a fuck about him.
Well, he was a replacement because it's meant to be Wolfgang.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was meant to be Wolfgang.
It was originally
last second.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
It was some of the good guys at that time.
It was originally. Was it not originally Darkside?
Possibly, yeah.
Well, actually, maybe it was Darkside.
Quite a few times.
Darkside.
Because I was supposed to wrestle Darkside, supposed to wrestle Wolfgang. I didn't have him. Chris went through at one point.
That place was like I was in Brewery, and that place was jumping that night as well. Like that was like
fucking up for it.
We had like on a rare occurrence, we had so many seats, but we still had to open the balcony that night. That's a place was absolutely hoaching, and that goes on last, and the guy comes out and he's just like.
It's a shame.
And it's like
should have went last in hindsight.
His fault. He hadn't been taught that way. It was a case of like where he was from at that point. They weren't teaching folk to be characters and do crowd work. It was like
Andy was a good technician.
Yeah, be good and be sound. But it's like being sound isn't enough when you're in front of like 200 folk that have got kids with them. Kids want you to give them something to grab onto.
The thing about that too, it puts me in a position, right? Because I'm the heel, so the heel's job is to make the babyface look good, right? Regardless of me being a champion or not. But how can I can't tone myself down to fucking boring because that then fucks my character I've built up. So I have to still be me, and I'm trying so hard not to overshadow this guy, but he's not giving me anything. So I can't just change my character to the fans to make him look better.
Eventually, you turn into funny. Because the fans see you and you turn into funny, cocky heel, and they like that because you're having to over vocalize.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a problem.
That's like popular. Yeah, that's the thing about that. That's the thing about being a heel and a face. Like if you're a heel, you're trying to not be liked too much. But if you're against a bland baby face, it's just the way it's going to go. You can't help it.
Yeah, it's because we've got. I mean, like we've got a couple of heels that are quite comedic, especially like the main one's Alan Sterling.
Right, that was the one I was thinking of. It's like,
you need
to up your game against Alan, otherwise you get too overshadowed.
And again, I've seen that like heels shouldn't be funny, and that's argument. And okay, but my counterpart is faces. Fucking bring it.
Yeah.
Come out your fucking shell and bring it. You need to be able to come up. Like I had the match with Luke and Sharp, and he's like, now he's doing the Blood Tourist thing, but when he first came in for us, he was just straight out kind of comedic heel, and it's like, well, I kind of let him do the fucking crowd here. I need to do something as well, because I need to be reacting to his fucking shenanigans and bringing the crowd in with me, so I get overshadowed by him.
Yeah.
The babyface against an entertaining heel, it's their responsibility to fucking bring the showbiz and bring the gaga. And if they don't, they fucked it. If I'm being honest,
in my opinion, it's the same reason why Wild Lions and Discovery didn't work. Like me and Andy Wild, we were given like babyface characters and we just didn't work. We were bland babyfaces. And I fucking hated that. I've never been bland. But in that environment, because the way it was booked or whatever in our team, I just couldn't get us over. And like that was why we were pushed to be their top babyface tag team. It didn't work. It just didn't work.
The thing is, right, there that's like, and it's not a criticism of Alan, in his book in there, but two guys like yourselves that are like established in Scotland, to then say to them, well, we're going to do this with you. And it's like, hold on, but no, it's all very well asking one person to like, you change your character, do this. But to say to two people, right, we're going to make you this, like ultimate white meat baby faces. It's not going to work.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Changing one person is difficult. Asking an audience to accept two people that they've seen all over Scotland and accept it, okay, they're both changing. That's difficult to take, I think.
Yeah, and
I think particularly the Discovery audience, because I think the Discovery audience is I hate the term, but a smarter audience. Mm-hmm. And
they're more like work rate kind of.
Yeah, asking that type of audience to accept the fact that yourself and Andy Wild, who you've seen and you've seen all in Wrestlezone and blah blah, and then Andy obviously was doing ICW and stuff at the time, to then suddenly go, right, these are super good guys and you're going to cheer them. It's like,
no.
No.
I've had like one good match in Discovery, and it really hurts me because I love Alan. I think it's a great company, but it was my last match when I got against Alan, where I just said to Alan, let me be me, let me be a dastardly heel and go against Andy, and we were given freedom to be our own characters, and I feel it's the only match that actually worked for me in Discovery. Like, as this generic babyface, and it worked in Wrestlezone because for years I was a heel and they loved me as a heel, and it was a slow transition from heel to face, and they accepted that. In Discovery, there was no such transition. So I'm selling just this generic, bland babyface with no development.
They wanted you to turn face. They want you to turn.
The night that you turned, the night that you turned eventually, how good was that reaction?
Oh, amazing.
Oh, it was amazing, wasn't it?
Aye, it's like you and Damien. It's like there was a big build-up. There was a reason for it to happen. It wasn't just, you give me a face now.
Exactly, yeah.
There was a big fucking build-up, and you need
you're
to fight for
patient too. I mean, like, they were cheering me for quite a while. You didn't pull the trigger on it. You made it subtle.
It's like you say, well, you don't say to them, but you say by your presentation, you're telling them, well, you're probably going to get what you want, but you're not getting it now.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you're patient, you'll appreciate it more. It's the same with Crusher.
It's the same thing with Damien. With Damien and Crusher, and they turned. It's like people knew it was coming, but just hold on.
Yeah,
you'll get
it's no time yet.
And then when it happened, the place came fucking unglued. It's low. Who'd have fucking thought it? Storylines and characters get fucking over.
Don't need to be clever with storylines. But then he turns anyways. No, keep it simple.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no need to overcomplicate. Give people what they want.
When Brian Tucker won the belt, look at the reaction. You had him for a while, and then he had that slow and then became champion.
No, like Tucker, the Tucker had never won a match in 2 years, and then he won a Regal Rumble in 2011, and the place came fucking unglued. I know everyone says that shit. Oh, they're hanging from the rafters and blah blah blah. Everything I'm saying is true because you can go back and watch it because it's there. Fucking the place came unglued when Tucker won. It'd been a 2-year story of this so close, and then he got it, and the place was fucking electric for it.
Connor and Crusher's first match where he picked Connor at the crowd. Remember, and the crowd was so to Connor.
Yeah.
That's like
that
reaction was so good. It spurred on the next year organically.
What you can take there, and you follow it.
Yeah,
like you mentioned the Tucker thing there, Scott.
It's not difficult.
Like you mentioned the Tucker thing, and it's like that's the thing. It's like it's not even like they're wanting a turn. They're just the crowd are desperate for Tucker to win a match. It's just like and like and it comes back to what I was saying. It's like there's guys who are like I don't want to lose, and it's like there's Tucker. There's Tucker spent 2 years just getting beat by everyone. Everyone. And okay, the losing streak, not everybody can do it. I get that, and I fully understand that. But there's Tucker got beaten by everyone, but the crowd were ready for it, and they were behind him because it's like, oh, we want him to win. We want him to win. And of course, he's never going to win the Regal Rumble because he's in there and all hair comes Sterling Oil.
Yeah,
It's like he's obviously never going to win. It's like, oh, obviously Crusher or you or whoever's going to. All right, okay, and then he wins. Unbelievable.
We did a bait and switch, did we? Did he actually got eliminated? I got eliminated, but I came back in again.
Did you?
He won again. Yeah.
It's like what happened was, it's like you and Alan went in there, and then Damien was still kicking about, and then some faces came out to try and stop the interference. So then referees went with them, and then Tucker was out, but no one saw it. Came back in, so it was almost like a double vindication of. It didn't work, you fuckers. And he won. Fuck yes, yeah.
Because that was
babies in the air.
It was like it came up. It was like early June, so it's 10 years ago. Because I know it came up because it's like I was working in Sunderland at the time, and it was the first week I was down there. And it was the first week I was down there, and I had to say to them, "Look, I went down on the Wednesday because look, I need to go home for the weekend."
Oh, okay,
you were there then. Okay. And I was like, I've got a show at the weekend, and obviously I knew what was happening. I knew, look, Tucker's going to win. It's a Regal Rumble. There's no way. It's like I've got to go home on Friday. I'm sorry. No, I've got something on. It's like, and I was like, I made the excuse to them. I was like, oh, it's a family thing. It's like no thing with my mum. And it's like I've got a wrestling show to do. I've got a wrestling show to do because I know fine. I know fine. It's going to be mobbed. I know fine. It's like I know fine. We've got Tucker winning a Regal Rumble. I know it's going to be mental. And the last thing I want is to be there and be sitting in Sunderland on my own on a Saturday night going, I will had like X amount, 100 whatever in the building, 200 in the building, whatever. It was a really good night, and I'm sitting on my own with a beer and a kebab going, fucking great, that is it. No way. And I said, no way was I missing it. Absolutely no way was I missing that.
Great moment.
What I like about the Tucker thing as well is, like the era of, everyone having to be cool and everyone having to be badasses. Tucker is like white mate, wholesome babyface that got over like $1 million.
You know what? That should never work though. He was a typical Boy Scout. It shouldn't have worked. But he was.
He's a Boy Scout.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. Because patient.
It's like that in real life. That is what he's like in real life as well.
Yeah. That's organic, let it build.
That's why it worked, because the character, he was so nice. And everybody eventually was like, oh,
a good one, was he?
For 2 years before that, it was a case of it was Tucker against William Sterling or Alan Sterling or Crusher or Mr. Malice or whoever. And it was like, oh, he's going to lose. Oh, okay, well, Kane Fuzz's got to happen. It was going to lose. And he kept it. And eventually people were like, no, come on, Brian. Come on. And eventually they all were behind him and they were willing him on at every point. And even the shows before then. And we weren't doing heaps of shows back then. It wasn't like now when we do 20 odd. We were only probably doing 10, maybe 15 shows a year. But every time folk were just like, come on, I want you to win, want you to win, want you to win. And it was perfect. But storytelling doesn't work, apparently.
Well, it's like we say, Martyn. It's like, once you get a regular audience, they know the moves. And see if you can start getting croaked to pop, because they know your move, they know your finisher. Someone kicks out your finisher and they pop. You didn't get that on a cold show. They know the stories. We're so fortunate that we've got a fan base that's loyal, believe in the characters, believe in the stories, because they care.
Yeah, well, and that comes from the fact that, like, no, and this isn't a criticism of anyone, but no, how many times do we get like messages and emails from folk of like, oh, I'd love to come and work for you, blah blah blah. And now we could book everybody in Scotland, right? But the regular audience, when I know them, and when I react to them, so why would we? We could bring in 10 folk a show. But it wouldn't matter because nobody would care because they've never seen them before, and it would detract from what we do. Whereas you treat the audience or to a different person now and again when we need someone, instead of just bringing in somebody because the whole but you'll get a good match out of him. It's like, well, but we'll get a good match out of. I'll get a good match out of Tucker. I'll get a good match out of Archer or Vago or Dino or whoever. It's like I can get a good match out of our guys. Why would I bring in somebody that nobody knows to have a good match, but the audience will sit there and go, "I doubt they can, boy." So yeah, okay.
But also as well, like bringing in like again, even like bringing in like I know you mentioned like 10 guys, I know just like a number out of your head, but let's say you brought in a bunch of guys. It's like, okay, well that means, well, who from the regular crew is getting bumped that night to make space for these people?
I mean, 10 was an
It's like-
exaggeration. Obviously, that's true.
There's too much people on our crew that I'm not bumping for nobody. It's just that's just the fucking way it is.
You've
And
got
I'm
guys
not
that are
doing
in
it
training every week,
for guys.
busting their arse. It's like, you got to bump these up for some guy. Like we were
Absolutely,
saying,
yeah.
some fucking pants and kickpads guy who can do the moves, but it's got no fucking character. It's
The
like,
thing is,
No, like Johnny Kickpads.
I'll
Hell of a brain buster.
repeat. I've said this to Scott and William privately, and I'll repeat it here. And it was actually one of the things I'd written down when I did the podcast with you separately, Vego. Where it was like, I will put like any of our guys up against anybody else for any other schools that are guys that are currently on shows in Scotland. It's like you got your Cell and Archer as a team, as good as any team in Scotland. The 3 guys for the foundation, as good as any guys in Scotland as a team. When you put them together, it's like you got Damien, you got Crusher, you got Scotty. They're as good as anybody else that's going about. So this whole idea of but when you bring boys in that are just like generic boys, it's like, oh well, and now and again, obviously you throw somebody a bone because maybe they're driving.
Favors for certain guys as well.
Maybe like somebody's driving up Grado or somebody, and so you throw them a bone, but a lot of the guys that we've got, and particularly the guys that are on shows, I would pit them up against anybody in Scotland as to be as good as, if not better. But need to be the whole Aberdeen kind of like sob story. But then you didn't get the credit that you deserve. And like I say, you and Archer is as good as any fucking team in Scotland. I mean, Bradley, Zach, and Ryan are fucking all 3 of them are really, really good. Don't get the credit they deserve. Zach's been kicking about for years.
Yeah.
How underappreciated is that guy?
Absolutely. Just go to Ryan there. Like I worked Ryan one of my last matches for the trainees. Remember the show with me and Ryan?
Yeah, that's right. That was a really good match. That was a great match.
And I've worked with guys in Glasgow. I've worked like the Hardcore Hollies, whatever. I've worked over 15 years. I've worked everybody just about in Scotland. And a lot in England. And Ryan's just as good. It was brilliant. I really enjoyed that match. I think it's
got a character. He's got a character.
Yeah, exactly. And we put it together. Yeah, we did the big crazy bumps and shit, but we sold the characters, and that has to come first. Sell the story, sell the characters, and then they're going to pop bigger for those big spots, or those big moves. But you got to build it the right way. You can't just fucking do.
That's the thing. Like folk will come at a show and they'll go home. They won't remember all the moves you did, but they'll remember the characters that were there.
Exactly. And like
also me, like what it said about not remembering all the moves. I think I said before, but a huge thing that I think is more important than, again, Bill spoke about what's good. It's all subjective, and he's right. When someone says to you, "I'm glad you won," or "You should have won," that's significantly more important than someone saying you're a good match, because they clearly were invested in what you were doing, or at least cared about who won or lost. Because when wins and losses to them start to mean nothing, that's when it is just a bunch of guys doing moves.
Yeah,
that's a huge compliment.
When that comes from people that also know, people know that it's like it's UFC, so it's nay 100% a real fight, but it's like you should have won. Like, all right, okay,
yeah.
You want to get. You go. Sorry, Mark. Sorry.
The thing with Ryan as well is like Ryan's character is like, and I know it's like probably like now it's became the oldest cliche in the business of well, your character should be yourself, dialed up, blah blah blah. But Ryan's character is actually legit, because his character is just like, I did used to be a really fat boy, and now I'm near really fat boy, and so I think spoiler in real life he's not a wanker about all the weight he lost, but as his character, he's a massive. It's like, well, just be a wanker because you lost loads of weight.
And he's telling us like that's
and it's
it.
like I just take it, and it's just dialed up. It's like, and how simple is that? It's like, you used to be a fat boy, now you're near a fat boy. Why do you need to be a wanker about it? Brilliant character, sorted. Inspirational Ryan Riley. Here's a protein shaker, done.
Wanker. Yeah.
Just to your personalities there, I'm just going to jump in before this ends as well. Like, all the companies I've worked for, Wrestlezone has got the least ego. Like everybody just wants to get on, do the show, work with each other. Like there's no ego and there's no arseholes, you know. And like I have worked on
it's the Aberdeen mentality.
Yeah,
The ones that
and-
are arseholes didn't last. It's as simple
No,
as that.
No,
I've never
the
stayed
team
one.
grounded.
thing is, we work different companies. I'm not going to name names, but I felt uncomfortable in some locker rooms, and it's kind of probably why I
You've
didn't.
told
push
us before in private about that.
Yeah, I know, but like it's
Yeah.
probably why I didn't push myself that hard to go in Glasgow and stuff. Because the time I did work, I've worked for BCW, I worked for PBW, I did do a few shows at ICW, and never felt comfortable. I used to sit backstage thinking, "Fuck, I hate this. I don't like this."
I never felt comfortable backstage in ACW.
No, very
for
cliquey. And I
this-
don't want to be
for
controversial.
the-
It's all little groups
for-
who don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, for the square go, the person I spoke to the most was Solar. And we spoke about you, Stu, a lot. We're talking about Stu.
You say about ICW guys, it's the same. Like if we brought them up for like an argue hour, if you get them by themselves, they're fine. If you get them in a group, they just keep their own fucking clique and you don't speak to
That's
anybody.
true. But when you do bring those guys up, they're always a bit like, "Oh wow, it's totally different here." Like I think it's the way it's went. Like the locker rooms, I've been unfriendly there for a long time, and that's bred the unfriendliness as it went on. We've never had that, so we started off with a family locker room, and when we bring in outsiders, they're part of that, and they're like, "Oh,
Wrestling? It's just wrestling.
It's funny.
It's just wrestling.
Like it's funny though. Like how many of them are like totally impressed with the fact is, oh my god, you guys have got a monitor that I can watch the show.
Speed.
It's
So
like,
no,
aye.
the referee's mic'd up, Martin's mic'd up. Yeah, it's like, I mean, of course, no, like it wasn't always like that. I'm not going to pretend it because back in the day we didn't know fucking anything.
yeah."
But as time went on, we learned, you know, and we took our cues from WWE, obviously on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
But you're going to copy the market leader. You know, I know, their product right now is what it is. Hopefully, when crowds come back, it gets better. But again, it goes back to our wrestling, my wrestling, Bill's wrestling, Martin's wrestling. You know, Vago's wrestling is closer to that WWE style than anything else. And it goes back to the referees are mic'd up, and again, it's like having a live feed. So they got a million, like every match has got a DT.
Stuff, yeah.
I'm fucking nuts. As I go into shows with no live feed, I was at PBW and Mikkey came to referee one time and he's like, "Where's the live feed?" I said, "Oh, Mikkey," you know, because Mikkey had only worked for us and he thought that was his normal. And it's like, no, something no like ICW have it with their TV product, that kind of production, but that wasn't normal, especially for the smaller midweek shows. So he's like, he went to me.
The corner of the curtain you open. You know, that little gap in the curtain. There's your live feed.
I had to do that, so I wasn't copying the opener, whoever was second or third or whatever. But then Mikey's coming to me, he saw it. Every match had like a DT variation. Yeah, because that's again, like that actually isn't a dig. That's just, not everyone does things the same way, but he had never been exposed to anything other than us. And then he realized, shit, I don't realize how good I've got it. It's like, no, you don't, but you do now.
Thing is, that's the thing about these shows. Like, no one watches anyone else's matches, so they think their match is the shit. But they haven't watched anyone else's matches, and you get a lot of repeated spots. And back in the old days, like 15 years ago, when I was in these shows, every match DDT, and it gets fucking old.
Yeah.
You know, you need to watch
Low blows, ref bumps. It's like, no.
Exactly.
The main
And
event
like,
gets the choice of those.
Like, there's no ref bumps in a cold match.
There's I don't know.
Authorized. Never.
I don't know how that works. Like in other training schools, I don't know how it works, but like it seems to me like guys have never shown. Like obviously we've got in wrestling, we've got 6 matches on our card, 7 if you can have the pre-show, but like 6 matches. So you can like what your match 1 is supposed to be, what your match 2 is supposed to be, what your match 3 is supposed to be, and so on and so forth. Until you get to the fucking main event, that's how your fucking high spots, whatever. But like guys, other promotions you look at, you think they just seem like I would just detail the best match on the card, and it's like
Main event in every match.
you don't just if you're second on the card, you don't need to pull out of the fucking stops and all the fucking high spots and you be outside and brawling and no, just that's your spot on the card. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, I would do that match every single match, but it's not appropriate. You're not being paid to do that. You're being paid to do the match the promoter's asked you to do. So if you're fucking match 2,
We've had that problem as well.
That's that's what comes from
Yeah.
when you like, no, and I was obviously exaggerating when I was saying about bringing in 10 different guys, but that's what comes from, like, you know, when you see these, like, there are shows going on and they've brought in like 6 or 7 or 8 different boys, and it's like, oh, well, you're in with your mate from, you know, from Edinburgh or from Glasgow or wherever, and they go into business for themselves, but they go, right, well, we'll steal the show here. And it's like, no.
Not even asked to do.
You know when
like
people are taking it out and taking it piss.
It's like you're in front of 60 folk, you're in front of 60 folk in, like, Anakin, Cumbernauld or something. There's no show to steal. You know, it just can you steal a WrestleMania main event in the 3rd match, isn't it? It doesn't mean anything to anybody. And that's what comes from, like, why us having a core that can be, like, you know, a little bit added to with outside guys works better.
And again, like, everyone in our crew understands what the objective is, which helps. And that's also because they've been either we know or they've been brought up in that way to understand there is a way to inherently build a show. You know?
Yeah.
And you'll know, and it's like if you keep at it, you'll work your way to the main event eventually.
I consent.
Consent.
Says most of the trainees.
Spoiler.
I consent, Mr. Gertrude. No, right, okay.
None of us are getting edited. It's all staying in.
Again,
like,
I said earlier on, right? No, and I'll let you get. I wouldn't derail it too much, but I said earlier on, you know, Scottish wrestling is full of folk that are like, pretend, you know, guys that are mackie on hard guys. You know, it's like neither of us are hard cases. No, we're pretending. Nobody pretends to fight. I only say folks' names, and I'm not a fucking hard case. So,
and I throw fake punches. So
if one of the folks that I've buried want to come and kick a fuck at me, all right, okay. I'm not hard either. It's fine. Because neither are they. Because why? They pretend to fight. If they were hard, they'd beat a UFC gym.
And I'll just stab them, so it's fine.
Like Jimbo is right now.
Pretend to be hard.
I'm honestly not derailing it, but there I go derailing it. See,
I call it a tangent. It's a tangent, Martyn. It's a
tangent. Aye, let's go with that.
It's a tangent.
So as you can see, we're a man doing because Johnny Lyons has to go.
We're not happy. We are not happy that
he's running out of energy.
Aye,
our fifth warrior has disappeared.
Sunflower oil didn't keep him going.
He has to go to bed because he's no protein. He's not here.
No, he's out in the field to eat some grass, so then go to his bed.
Grazing.
Apparently,
the mighty have fallen.
He's apparently away. He's playing Maybe I'm Amazed backwards, trying to get the recipe for that ripping lentil soup that Paul McCartney said in The Simpsons.
Holy shit!
Is that a reference? Is that a reference? Is that a good enough niche reference? Do you like
that? Simpsons reference.
I enjoyed that. That's a deep cut.
You play Maybe I'm Amazed, but hey, apparently, if you play Maybe I'm Amazed backwards, it's a recipe for ripping lentil soup. That's all.
Hey, I'll get right on that when I buy a vinyl player, which I don't currently own.
Yeah.
Get a fucking vinyl player.
You say that.
I know, you're right. I know. The issue is, like, if I buy a player, I'll start to buy the vinyl and then I'll fuck it.
Yeah.
Look, before we get derail too much, like, I got the No Sleep Hammersmith vinyl in the post the other day. I've still not got a record player.
Did you buy the box?
I appreciate it.
Did you get the box set or just the box set?
The
box set looks really good though.
I'll tell you what I got. What I ordered was the vinyl box set and the 4 CD box set. Come out with it had the No Sleep Flyers, Hammersmith Flyers and whatever posters in it. What they sent me was the vinyl box set plus the 2 CD. It's a booklet set or whatever it was. So I emailed them saying, look, you sent me this instead of the 4 CD. So they emailed me back saying, all right, guys, fine. We'll send you the 4 CD like you ordered and a return envelope for the 2 CD. They never sent me the return envelope, so I'm keeping it. That's been 2 weeks. They've said anything. They've took money.
Why do you need to just give if the 4 CD is surely the 2 CD but expanded? So why do you just give me the 2 CD?
Well, you see,
I'll tell you what. I'll give you a $5 for it.
Nah,
That's a
still
good
not.
Mark, how many of these podcasts have you did for fuck all?
like we said, until we get sponsored for this, it's nobody's getting paid. It's fine, and even I'm getting paid for this at this point. There's too much swearing. I can't even monetize it on YouTube.
Like Scotty, you really should be starting to buy vinyl. I mean, no, look, in solidarity with you, I've started buying toys, so it's only fair that you start buying vinyl back. In solidarity with me.
Well,
Come on, you know you want it. He knows he wants to.
Is see fucking Lindsay's buying vinyl now, like on a regular basis, and it's gotten out of hand.
that's my worry.
Gotten out of hand.
Do you fancy that Black Album covers box set for $154.99? No.
I should have gotten that Injustice set, honestly, because remember we were speaking about that. I don't know what I remember. We were speaking about it backstage at a show in Balmeedy. You've never seen that Injustice set? It's half a nice. I'm thinking about it, but I never did jump on it.
I never got around to any of the Metallica ones because it's like I want them, but it's like a lot at the time to go hard on. But then
the problem I would have is if I get one album, I'd want another them, and it's just.
It's nonsense.
You've got to get a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to.
The box sets are really good. Like I want just to steer the conversation to metal a bit. I did notice that the Black Album, expanded box set with everything in it, with the DVDs and stuff. Some of the stuff that's going to be on the DVD is the shows when after Hetfield has burnt his arm.
All right, okay.
So there's going to be one of the DVDs has got more stuff from the shows where John Marshall was playing guitar from Armored Saint.
Right, it was one of the techs that took over for him.
Yeah, it's a guy from Armored Saint. I think it's something John Marshall or something Marshall. So basically, there's DVDs of there's all this different extra stuff that you've never seen before, and apparently some of the stuff that's going to be on one of the DVDs is the shows where just Hetfield's obviously got the arm burnt and he's just on the mic.
Yeah,
and the only time I've ever seen that stuff is on the year and a half in the Life documentary.
Yeah, I've only seen clips of it. I've never seen the whole thing.
But apparently there's going to be a few bits of that, and it's like, now I really want that.
Tempted.
It's like, is it enough to spend 150 quid on?
Probably not. No, really, but then it's a bit what makes sense. It's a bit what you want.
Well, why don't you buy it?
As a learned from Bill, my Bill's taught me that it's not what you need, but you want it. They taught me into it, fucker.
Scotty, you should buy it, right? And we can come round to yours and we'll hit a night on the beers and we'll watch it all.
Oh, that works for me. Perfect.
Right, okay. That's a seconded by Vigo, seconded by Sterling. Right, okay. Right, that's 5. That's motion.
It's on record. It's on record. It's got to happen now.
Cool.
but since we're speaking about the music and whatever,
it's a music podcast.
Well, allegedly, it's called the Mosh Pit, so we try to get.
That's a very vague description.
Very vague. Vague. Like
Mickey Vig.
The Mickey Vig. It's like I'm a heavy metal hooligan, or am I?
Mickey Vig's Mosh Pit. Yeah, that's what we're all about.
Mickey Vig getting booked.
But yeah, we've done this before with yourself and Martyn and Scotty and Martyn. We've done your dream gig, and since Johnny's fucked off, so we've only got William Sterling left.
Bullshit.
So it is. He's fucked it.
Yes, fucked it.
Scum.
So we're speaking about your dream gig. So Bill, you've got an opener, you've got a mid card, and you've got a headliner. Like you could be any number of bands. It could be broken up or fucking still together or dead or alive or. So you bring your dream gig. Who have you got?
A gig that would never happen with these three bands, but I'll open with Feeder.
Right.
Then I'll hit.
What era Feeder?
Huh?
Oh.
What era?
What era?
It was.
Okay, the dead away. I would hit Feeder now because they've got other songs for the back catalogue.
You're
a lot of effort in thinking than I did.
You're not really playing along with the spirit of the game.
No, I think there's certain
to be
bands
fair,
that
the only guys that have gone along with this, the only guys that have gone along in any sort of detail is you and Scotty Everybody else used name bands. Like nobody else is going to.
I did.
Like the 83 to 87 era of this band.
I did like the fact that when Zach Dynamite did his, he basically just rattled off 3 bands and went, I'm a band.
Aye.
And it's like, all right, okay. It's like, you didn't really playing along with the game. It's like, whereas me and Scotty just rambled on for 25 minutes about, well, I think I might go for the 65 era, but maybe also.
The thing is, my fucking set would change now. It'd be a different set now because it would just be the fit I'm in the mood for.
I say that, Bill, because I was meaning like, well, no, I'm never going to be a wanker, but obviously one of the original members of Feeder is no longer alive. So were they better then, or are they better now?
To be honest, it's not Devon's. It was just a drummer. I know folk wouldn't like that, but it's true. It's true. It's true. I'm not being a dick.
Well, I'm asking that.
He was British Dave Grohl.
For a rare moment, I was asking the question, and I wasn't actually being a wanker with it. I was generally just like looking for a proper answer, but to fairness, you've given.
Annoyed, obviously annoyed.
And then,
like, so any era Feeder, that's your opener.
I put take Maiden in 2000, so I get Bruce on the Brave New World album.
Right, okay.
Included.
That's a good shout.
I like that one. That's good.
Because some of the albums after that are a little bit too proggy for me, so I can live with a few.
Yeah. Like, see, we mentioned this, like Martyn brought it up about Final Frontier, about being just near the best team. I look back
I'm
on it.
a fan of that album either.
Kind of like a Spotify.
I like Dance of Death a lot. I like Dance of Death a lot.
Aye.
And after that, it starts getting a bit.
But the thing is, the song "Dance of Death" is like Stonehenge. Spinal Tap. It goes into the do. It's like it's fucking Stonehenge. And but they came out and they presented it live with a straight face and went, "This is Dance of Death." Like it's Stonehenge, mate.
Aye, like on Spotify, you can add like your favourite tracks or whatever. I look through it, like I've got at least 2 or 3 tracks for every Maiden album. Apart from Final Frontier, I've nothing for Final Frontier on me. Like favourite tracks, nothing, not one.
Yeah.
It's like so. It's like, yeah.
It's like some of the proggy stuff, is it? Is it Steve Harris who likes some of the prog stuff?
Harris is the prog guy. He's a big UFO and Wishbone Ash fan and stuff like that. So
Nah.
That's why folk are a bit like. Before, but we'll let you finish. But before that, like obviously folk are being a bit critical because the new song is like a Dickinson Adrian Smith song.
Oh, yeah.
And so some of the Maiden diehards are like, well, it's not really a Steve Harris song, is it? So it's like, yeah, correctly, it's not a Steve Harris song.
Yeah,
but it's all. But it's like
had it on. It sounds a bit folky, doesn't it? It sounds a bit folky.
It's different.
It's like saying. Because it's not been written by Steve Harris, that's not an insult. It's like because Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith are 2 of the greatest songwriters in the history of heavy metal, and so
it's fine.
Fine. I know his name's not on the song, but no, we've all seen the classic albums episode. Bruce Dickinson, he wrote "Run to the Hills." It's his song. So you get to really criticize Bruce Dickinson's songwriting. You know what I mean? Yeah. I said, like, Steve Harris is amazing. He's one of the best songwriters of all time. But Dickinson and Adrian Smith are fucking phenomenal as well. It's like,
it's good as good. Fugs a shit who wrote it. Good.
Aye, correct.
But it's like the Maiden diehards are like, oh well, it's not Steve Harris, so I'm really not very happy with it.
I'm very angry. Got to drink this Iron Maiden beer now. I'm not happy about that.
It's like, look, it's fucking. It's better than Holy Smoke.
The same concept that say Beast Over Hammersmith is our favourite live Maiden gig. That's it.
It's Live After Death. Fuck off. We'll all sunset Rock in Rio. No. Well, it's the best one because it's rare. Like, no, your Maiden hipsters like that one.
Okay.
But the people actually like it, like Live After Death.
Right, so you've got...
I don't know if you obviously... I forgot to say to Malice that when I was on, I told the story about Malice and the fucking... The Blaze Bailey video that he bought for the record fair. Because you obviously you remember it. So Scott obviously
I enjoyed that.
Like you remember because I know you were there. You were at the record fair when he bought. He gave you the video bill.
That's right. Didn't want it.
And it's just I don't know. I place bill and I fucking want it.
Please, Billy, I don't want it.
It's like I'm a big Iron Maiden fan, but I'm not as big a Maiden fan as Malice is. And he's like, I don't want it. Yeah, well.
I listened to that Kongo Kev and spit a dummy out.
I'm so happy that I can now like say, look, I wasn't lying because these two guys were in the room at the time.
I remember that. It's like,
It starts.
leave Blade alone. Leave Blade alone,
Sticks-
you cunt.
Sticks the video on, boom, it comes on future reel. I was like, oh, it's fucking Blaze. Eject. There you go, Bill. I don't want it.
The thing with Malice has got no concept of time, honestly. You asked him what year was WrestleMania 7, he wouldn't be able to tell you.
No,
Anything like
no
that.
idea.
Something, anything. No
It's like he
concept of time.
said to us that Raw started in '85. So it's like, no,
It's true.
it didn't.
He
You
just guessed.
lying piece of shit.
Yeah.
How could you
Because
think
Raw
it was
didn't start when you
85?
were 6, David. No concept. All right, WrestleMania.
No
Right, so
idea.
what was the main event of WrestleMania 6? No idea. It's
That's one
Warrior
of our
Hogan.
favorite games. Is let's asking Malice questions with no
Don't
answer.
think they get.
Is a year
Yeah.
or an event. He's never gotten one right ever. None.
No one find
None.
that you'll get a rise out of him as well. So
He bites every time as well.
We enjoy it.
oh, fuck off.
Sure, yeah, I don't care.
Off he goes. So anyway, you said Feeder and then you said Maiden.
Maiden 2000, yeah.
2000.
Headline act is Be Here Now Tour Oasis 98. Where they're just off their tits. You get other classics, you get other you get other you get other stuff off of Be Here Now.
It's just a cloud of cocaine above them.
They still did a lot of the stuff off of Be Here Now as well. And they're just that's it for me. Most folk would say like
That's
Network
a
or something
really
like that.
good-
I want the Be Here Now stuff as well. So
Aye, just before
that's
the
because
That's a
the
really good
cocaine
set
album.
list.
Aye.
Marilyn Manson's favourite Oasis album
Okay.
is Be Here Now. Because the famous quote is like, I know I've just mentioned somebody that's also been cancelled. Are we allowed to mention Marilyn Manson? and shit?
Okay.
I just realised.
Now, let's go.
Well, I am. Well, yeah. I think the
Is
quote
he
that
a
he says is
wrestler or
like,
not?
I think Noel tells the story that he met Marilyn Manson and he basically went, "That's my favorite record of yours because I can only imagine the place you were in when you made that album."
But a coke you snorted to
And it's like,
come up with that.
aye,
No point, just told me fuck off, to be fair.
aye, no problems. Like aye, and the way that he
Very
did
good.
when Lars Ulrich kept turning up backstage and stealing their cocaine, and eventually they told Lars to fuck off as well. It's like, stop stealing. It's like, all right, mate, stop stealing all my fucking drugs, man. Fuck off, Lars.
The Oasis did Aberdeen in August '97, was it?
They played. I don't know when it was, but they played the Be Here Now tour. They brought
Aberdeen.
obviously the whole thing with the telephone box and the
Aye.
clock and everything. I wasn't there, but they definitely
Yeah,
did.
my mum wouldn't let me go. That tour for me, just dangerous.
Dangerous gig.
It was
A
though,
dangerous
like no one
gig.
way mate each other. They're all coke to their tits.
Full of
Just slightly bloated, you know, that kind of like
Aye.
not as per people, but no, just in terms of as a band, it wasn't parody, but it was just slightly bloated.
Another guitar layer, another guitar track on that, please.
Is it Magic Pie that's got like 140 guitar tracks on it or something?
Yeah, something like
Some
that.
random
Just,
thing we
just,
just-
do it.
You kept
Why,
going.
no?
I just love that sort of thing. It's like no, Archer really should be here for this one, but there's a famous Status Quo story where Rick Parfitt was in the studio one night, and I think it's a song, Mystery Song, and he was sitting playing. He was obviously they'd done like Speed or something, and Francis Ross had fucked off, and so Parfitt's in the studio just sitting, and he's like, and he comes across this riff, so it's like, and he's like, if I stop playing this and go to sleep, I might not remember this. So he stayed up all night and just kept taking more drugs so he could remember it. And then in the morning, Rossi came back and he's like, "I've got this for you." And he's like, played the riff for him, and he went, right, I can go to bed now. It's like that. And it's like it was the riff for a Mystery song, and that's exactly the same as like it's. I imagine that's exactly how Oasis were at that point of just I need more everything, riffs, guitar tracks.
In no way do I advocate taking drugs, but the Stones were better back then. They were.
It's just like it's like the Bill. Have you ever seen the Bill Hicks stand-up thing where he's like, it doesn't matter if you're a drug guy or not a drug guy. Basically, if you're anti-drugs and you then basically go to your CD collection and go to your music collection. And he's right. It doesn't matter whether you're like you like it or you don't. Chuck everything out, because you'll struggle to find it. Unless you're like only like straight edge ska punk or something. You wouldn't be able to have any CDs with guys that didn't take drugs.
Yeah,
and it's true.
It's true.
Not defending it, but it's a fact.
No, it's a fact.
The wrestlers like just separating the artist from the wrestler because
the old
of them are arseholes.
Well, can you separate the art from the artist? There's a deep question for the Mosh Pit.
Oh, fuck me.
I don't know.
If we're talking about someone like a Benoit, like no, like Benoit is the top of the scale from that discussion.
Hogan or Warrior,
No. Hogan is a racist piece of shit. The Warrior is a homophobic piece of shit. Does it mean that I can't enjoy WrestleMania 6? No.
Yeah.
It's like, well, and the thing is, at the age we are, like obviously Vego, you're like 5 years younger than us, but at the age we are, we fell in love with Mania 6 and the things of the time. So we fell in love with it before they became pieces of shit 20 years later.
Aye. That was the thing though, like back then there was no internet or there was no fucking, unless you looked for it, you wouldn't find this shit. Like now you just go on Twitter and you find this fucking nonsense about this guy's a nonce and this guy's a pedo and this guy's a rapist and whatever. Back then you wouldn't get into any of this.
It's great to like wrestling, is it?
It's just
racist nonsense.
The only way you were safe in that period is if your favorite wrestler was Tito Santana. Otherwise, you're fucked.
I was trying to think of this the other day, right? In all seriousness, like in terms of like we'll talk about, like my favorite period is like we'll say like 89 and 91.
Yeah.
Right. But we'll say like what would you class as like the original WWF boom period was we'll say from 92 prior to 92 and then earlier.
84 and 92, the Hogan era, is it?
Well, yeah. We'll just use that as like a kind of cut-off point.
Aye.
Is there anybody before that was cancelled at the time? So nobody it became like, oh, this guy's a piece of shit, and he was just gotten rid of. That didn't happen back then because kayfabe was so well protected.
And the shit with Snuka apparently murdered his girlfriend.
And it was
that
protected.
Was okay.
Like even slightly after that, like Vader goes on the show in Kuwait, beats up the talk show host, does a couple of days.
He was in house arrest for like a week or so, and then he went back home again. Yeah.
Comes back and protected. It's like because it was so well protected back then that nobody seems to and nobody got cancelled back then, and then suddenly the internet's a thing, and it's like, oh, hold on, Snuka scumbag, Jake Roberts questionable. Hogan, obviously Hogan, but all the stuff that even all the stuff like like we've all watched like the RF shoot interviews from back in the day, and there's like a lot of stuff on there that would get like Michaels, Jannetty, Brett, all these boys, totally right. You judge that with modern eyes, it's like cancelled, can't do that. When they're talking about rats and all this kind of stuff. And it's like that didn't happen. That didn't happen. It's like no.
It is because we're in an era now where information can be found instantly. Well, back then, information you'd have to look for it, or like before it became public knowledge, they could get rid of it. Or like let's not talk about it. Now it can be immediately. You can just you can go boom 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 send, and then people whether any of us could put up something terrible tonight that's a lie, and at least one person will think it's the truth, regardless whether it's believable or not. You can just go send, and then someone will believe it, and then he'll tell one person, and then it'll be a thing. And
screenshotted, and then you're dead.
Aye.
yeah.
I mean, like Tio Santana's the only one I know seemingly was with it.
From that era, Tito, Rick Martel,
aye.
Bob Orton. You kind of went away again, but
I think Bob liked it.
Morocco.
Yeah,
I mean,
Morocco was a steroid guy, so therefore there's clearly there will be stories.
Was that an back
I
one?
know Roy guy, but like to me, like,
Backlund left 2 weeks. Remember, he left before that
Backlund.
off.
But even Roy shit, like to me, Roy stuff's so low under the fucking importance scale. Fuckers. Really, I mean,
Again,
the grand scheme of
that's what I'm saying. But judged,
I'm being honest.
by judging it with modern eyes, it would get them all cancelled.
It's on TV now on AEW and it'll be clearly on steroids.
Oh yeah, fucking right.
I mean,
of course there is. Yeah,
but just maybe admits it.
Aye, they've gone about this fucking drug test. How familiar though? Let's be honest.
I want to take HGH.
Again, if you pass the eye test, you know, sir, big white because I look at you and see it. If you know enough basic about it, then you can know when someone's on it and when they're not.
The funny thing is that if they're currently in WWE or AEW, where they get a mention that they're probably on steroids, because in 6 months we could probably be booking them.
Well,
let's just play that political game.
Martyn can do the back test.
I was like, just check how much spots you got on your back. You're right.
Well, I tell you if I'm going to be booking, because I tell you who we're going to be booking is Ted DiBiase. And Scotty, tell us why we're going to be booking Ted DiBiase.
You said you didn't have any notes.
No, I've got a number of notes.
I've looked at any of my notes.
To be fair, mine said there was 3 pages of notes that Scott had. This was for his notes, so technically it's named my notes.
Okay.
That's right. That's what you fucking knew. That's right. Yeah, fuck it. There was a time, a long time ago, where
I can still remember random music.
when a number of the Wrestlezone boys used to wrestle for SWE to hold this against us. They were young and stupid, didn't know any better, but it didn't take us long to figure out, come on, what the fuck. So, 2011, I'd had enough and Bill had enough. Certain parties stayed, but we don't talk about that. And the last show, because you broke your thumb, hadn't you, Bill, at this point, and you weren't on the show. I learned the whole thing.
I was ready to come back, but the man who lost his leg, another paedophile, Chaz Phoenix, didn't book me on the show at a spike.
Bill, is that the paedophile Chaz Phoenix?
The paedophile Chaz Phoenix with one leg.
Convicted.
Does he have a...
Bill,
no, is that his real name or kayfabe name?
No problems in.
What
you
is
can
his real
ask me
name?
about the paedophile Chaz Phoenix again.
Bill, is that the paedophile Chaz Phoenix who was still backstage on shows after they'd found out about it?
Allegedly.
Okay.
That's his real name is Charles Riddle.
That's an interesting story, that, William. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, my thumb was fine with him, but he didn't book me on a show at a spice.
A lot of people in Scotland are when the mates are involved in this.
Oh, we lost Martyn a bit. Oh, no.
Sorry, I said a lot of people in Scottish wrestling. A lot of people in Scottish wrestling are very good at looking the other way when their mates are involved, aren't they?
What do you mean? Elaborate.
Do you want me to elaborate, Scotty? Do you really want me to elaborate?
Oh, you've got 3 minutes for your story.
That was terrifying. Well, no, because I'll take more than that. If I remember, the paedophile, it didn't like you and Alan because you were too old.
No, he liked me, but not Alan.
Oh, no, is that what it was? We didn't like Alan, did he? He didn't like Alan.
Alan.
He said, no, maybe Alan
He
turns
booked
him down.
Azzy though, but no Alan.
Azzy D with his Jeff Hardy entrance, and he came out. Cool.
The true story. True story.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Hardcore Inc. with a K.
I saw a member that a 6-man tag from that Health Lycra. Me
4,000
and
people.
Hardcore Inc. against you, Alan and Malice. That was good. Okay, so oh, shit. Okay, so
I've really been matching that show with Jay Hazard.
was that a Willie Ben match?
Really
Yes,
been match. Really been
a Willie
match.
Ben match.
Anyway, get back to the story.
Well, no, the time's about to run out. So let's grab shite until it runs out, and then I can start afresh for getting new. Because Vago won't pay for the full Zoom.
No, you
I'm
won't.
not-
This crew's gone through me now, so. You want to just reset it? Yeah.
Right, just carry on. We'll keep going. It's fine.
We're speaking about SWE shit. That's a thing I haven't even looked at. That's why I wish Stu had hung about, because we could have got some gold
Yeah.
out of him.
Fucking stupid.
And I wanted to ask Stu. What I wanted to ask Stu is if he knew if Chaz actually had lost his leg, because that's a rumor that we heard, but we never had it confirmed. So I wanted to know. It's like, did he lose a leg or not? I thought maybe he heard some. I thought maybe he heard a big, because the story that we heard is Chaz got hit by a car and lost his leg. And I mean, I'm sure that was like some kind of a complication from the accident, not the car hit him and the leg just came off.
The end of this, you're gonna have to put up if you've been affected by the issues mentioned on the show, contact. Put a link to Chaz on the pedo site, the Register and so folk can check it out.
The UK database.
Ah, there you go. We'll put a link to that on the end of the show.
Obviously, well,
Fuck me.
to be responsible for a moment, obviously, and I think I said this on, but I was just me on. It's like, Neil laughing if it happened. It's like, but I also despise these fucking scumbags like him, because they got they use their position, but some of them within wrestling, some of them out with wrestling, and they got away with it. It's like, obviously we're not laughing if it happened.
No.
Definitely not. It's disgusting.
But we're laughing at we despise these people.
Michael J. Vigo, right
Consent.
away, right in, boom.
Watch me, sir, do.
Well, I can. Right, let me think on another name that I can be wide about. I consent. Jam. Oh, sorry.
Oh God. So Ted DiBiase hated me for a bit. No. So I had emotionally given up at this point with SWE. So all felt the same. And this was the point where Brian Stevenson and Brian Starr were still wrestling. So me and Brian had a match in Health Lycra, and I made the decision, which is inappropriate, is wrong. Whether or not I like the cunts or not, I mean, fuck SWE, of course, but it doesn't make it right. And I wouldn't suggest, I would tell our new guys to not do what I did, because it doesn't make it right. The fact they're ourselves is me and Brian were second on their biggest show of the year, basically their anarchy. And we had 10 minutes, and I went 10 minutes over my time on purpose. Because
Was
it was
it settled? Because they're always a settled.
I'm hanging for the rafters, hoot. So it was in the Bonner Hall in Dundee, which me and Bill still, and is a fucking cracking venue.
Bonner.
Bonner, like Bonner. So
40 years old.
40 years old. Look at how the toys find my fucking piece of shit. So
Are any of them set with it?
I still think the Bonner Hall is set up like a mini MSG. And like I've much tiny, but the way it's set up, it's got a little engine and shit. It's cool as fuck. So I wanted to get in the Muta when Muta would run along the entrance and hit a fucking clothesline just because he's got room to do it. He's like, I want to do the muta, I'll do a fucking dive, we'll go for a brawl on the floor. And Brian's like, okay, whatever you want. If no one find well, I'm taking the fucking piss. We're fucking second. I think we're second. So it went from, and again, I am not advocating this is right, it's bullshit. And then at some point, because the main event of that show was the main event of that was the main event of that show. Was it a show that had Virgil on it, who's referee? It wasn't that one, was it? Bill, can you mind? Was it not Braveheart against Claymore where it was the main event?
It was. I've tried to take that one out of my mind. So,
but the main event now, and that show as well.
Well, it was the one prior to the one they had Piper over.
Which number is it? I'll check up if it's on Cage Match.
Well, it's 2011. I can't remember the number. But Kev clicked me off to Braveheart because Bingo was working that show, and Bingo was he in a ladder match that all things considered was pretty good, and I was speaking to Bingo about the show and his match after he'd done it, and I remember saying to Bingo, with the state of the main event tonight, we're better off the fucking you guys going last, and that became Kev overheard me burying the main event, and then he went and he clicked off to Dave, and then Dave fucking told DiBiase as if that was like a thing. So
that's because DiBiase owns the company. That's why.
Well, Ted owns the company. Is it like Ted the same boy? The tax fraud, that doesn't matter. It's fine. So Dave told DiBiase that this person wearing his glasses upside down in the another time. So Dave told DiBiase that I had purposely sabotaged the show. That I went out to sabotage the show. It's like, no, you did that with an event, but that's neither here nor there. So that became a thing. So the following year they had Piper, which still annoys me because we could have had Piper and made it really, really special, but unfortunately that's gone now, which is a real shame. So Piper and DiBiase did a signing at Forbidden Planet in Aberdeen, and Charmaine fucking loves Piper, loves him. So we went to meet Piper. Of course, Piper's there, and then DiBiase was sitting next to Piper, and he's just burning a hole in it. And I'm just looking. I'm talking like, oh, Piper, lovely to speak to, chatting away to Piper, and I can just see in my eye, left side, DiBiase is just looking at me. And then that became a thing where after that, Dave was telling people, oh yeah, and DiBiase had it out with Scott in front of everyone. And it's like, we didn't, because Charmaine was there, Dan was there, his missus was there, Dougie was there, his missus was there.
All you guys went in.
All there. Mr. News was there as well. All these people who are like, no, he never said anything to Scott. But it became a thing because I'm the one who sabotaged Health Lycra. It wasn't the bad booking, it was me. So DiBiase hating me because I sabotaged the show. Oops. I went over my time by 10 minutes.
That signing. I was so petty that I refused to give them money by going in to get an autograph or a picture with Piper because I wouldn't refuse to give SW any money.
Yeah.
Can't find anything about the show
because we flyered. We were outside Forbidden Planet for a show that day. It was like,
well, that bugged him.
That was again. You could have came out and said to the lowly ring announcer, who isn't a hard case, if you had a problem, you could have said to me, but
do you remember the Judas signing? They had the prices in the window.
A lowly ring announcer that you would have quite easily kicked the fucking shit out of. But again, no. The prices were up in the
Oh
window.
no, we need to catch you first.
It got-
Sonny.
It got taken. The prices got taken
That's
down.
right. Put him up.
That's what we say. The prices
He put a line through every price, and then it went back up with a $5 added on everything. Because he did basically the prices were up. DiBiase and Piper entered the building. Once they'd gone upstairs, the prices came down. The $5 went on that they were clearly skimming off the top, and the prices went back up. And it's like, well, I know fine what's happening here. I'm not paying. Fine. I will sacrifice meeting Roddy Piper for that. And yeah, you're 100% right, Scott. It's like instead of they brought across Rowdy Roddy Piper and they did 350 people in Perth. Rowdy Roddy Piper, gimmick the gimmick, the most famous Scottish wrestler of all time, even though he's not really Scottish. And you only got 350 people. How much posters did you put up? How much advertising did you do? How many papers did you contact? How many phone calls did you make? For Rowdy Roddy Piper, a guy who's main evented a WrestleMania, you could only get 350 people. Are you fucking kidding me?
Piper
actually
be big.
Are you actually fucking kidding me? Like, and it's like that's not an arrogant Wrestlezone thing. Anybody else could have it. At that point, could you imagine if I go, no, dare we say it, had ICW booked it? No, they would have sold out any venue they could have thought about. But instead, there was 350 people in a fucking hall in Perth that was like a third full. Because but at least we booked him. For fuck's sake, it's Rowdy Roddy Piper, for fuck's sake. It's embarrassing.
That was the one. I remember the Virgil on that show as well. Was that the other one? There's also Chavo, DiBiase was also on that show.
No, they had DiBiase and Piper was 1 year, and then the next year I think they had Virgil and Tatanka.
DiBiase came back 4 years in a row.
Did he? Okay, right.
Was DiBiase coming back was like,
yeah.
It would be like us bringing back Billy Gunn 4 times. Like, well, I like Billy Gunn, but I'm not bringing it back 4 times. Yeah. And I get what they were doing. All like Ted now owns it. It's like it's bringing it back 4 times. It's like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He still owns it.
Sorry. He still owns it. But it's one of those like, look, I'm friends with Ted DiBiase.
It's like the only reason I still book you and Bill is because you guys are the gimmick owners of WrestleZone, so yeah, that's the only reason you guys get a booking, because you guys own
Archer
Archer books us all because we're the.
I've been trying to push this narrative the past day, like the whole let's be honest, like Scottish wrestling right now is a fucking shit show. And it is. Apart from Aberdeen, because we're the good cunts.
But nobody mentions that, though. How do you forget about that? Because they've forgotten this before. It's like,
of course. It's like, everything's terrible. It's like, hi. Okay, whatever. I'm used to it. It's getting ignored now. But let's just take everything. Let's just burn it to the ground. And when we open up again, Archer runs it. And we're sort of...
No. Drunk Archer. It's got to be Drunk Archer.
Drunk Archer. It's like, I own Scottish wrestling.
What we're going to do is we're going to basically, once everything gets back properly rolling, we're going to book an over 18 show, and we're going to get Archer pissed before it, and we're going to let Archer, and Archer's going to do my job. So we're just going to send Archer. It's like, right, okay, you're ring announcing. Do it.
I'm backing the guest GM. Is a shoot.
Just halfway through the match. Fuck Dino.
I'm 27. I'm 27.
We'll sit there and we'll give him a headset instead of a mic. So he's sitting there all night, live mic over the matches, everything. So when he's like, he doesn't have to be like, and the following contest. He's always got to be like, it'll be like hands free, the following contest, blah blah blah, and he's going to be steaming.
Two drinks in each hand, then.
Yeah, and we'll get. And what I'll do is I'll sit next to him, just like feeding him like a shot. Like feed him like every match he's got here like a shot of Jack or something. Just like just to keep him up at the level of fucking steaming. And it's like, right, okay, right, I'm trying to go right. Mine next again. Ted or something on you fucking go. If ever you win, announce whatever you want.
Here's a shoot.
Do whatever you want.
I just then we'll get him.
We don't know what the matches are going to be.
Just keep a list of fun backstage.
Oh,
There you
Not a
go.
clue. No idea.
The thing is, it doesn't matter what he announces. The matches are the matches. So he's like, "Oh, the next contest, it's the WrestleZone Rangers, and walk out Ted and Dino." It's like,
WrestleZone
what the fuck are you talking about?
Rangers.
Just let him announce.
But no, that reference, you roosted Abdi on
let
the
him-
internet.
let him say
Since I
what-
didn't get to ask Stu, I could ask you two. Because won't know some of these names either.
Oh.
So, Martin, do you remember the WrestleZone Rangers? We'll start with you.
I never saw them in person. I've obviously seen the clips because obviously the clips were going to put on the original kind of trainee page in the group.
Fucking dark web, that's where they were going to boot them.
I've never seen
The
them.
dark
I've
web.
I never saw the WrestleZone Rangers in person, but I think I know who they were. But
You, Scott, do you ever work them?
They walked so the sisters could run.
yes,
I never worked them. No, the only people that they worked was you and Alan, and maybe Malice and somebody. Malice and
if I not seen them against Ian Morris and somebody, did Ian Morris not go against the WrestleZone Rangers at one point?
He was one of them, wasn't it? It was him and
no,
Morris.
he was one of them. It was Mike.
Was it him?
It
Was
was Ian and Mickey Morris for the Rangers.
Was it? I thought I've seen one against them two against. Or
I remember
at
the
least
singles,
Ian
maybe it's
against
Michael Morris as a Ranger
Yeah,
against
one of
Ian,
the,
maybe.
It was the old gimmick of we have no depth. You walk twice.
We had, what was the ring announcer's name from the Kirkcaldy days?
Kyle.
Paddy.
That was Kyle.
Kyle.
Kyle was the
Two of them.
original one.
What
Then
was
Kyle.
two, was there?
The first one was Kyle.
Kyle
I think
Martin,
it's
and then he
fine.
buried him in the podcast.
Oh, did
No,
he? Okay.
No, my shovel. No, I had my shovel. No, I wasn't that bad to it. To be fair,
It's
I
like
wasn't
my
that bad.
favorite
there you are
Paddy
now.
moment, and Bill will like this one. This one of his favorites is when pushing Sterling Oil as a heel faction. So you got Bill Allen. Was Damien a part of that point?
It was just me and Alan. Sterling Oil was just a tag team.
No,
started.
it was you, Alan, Russell, and Malice.
aye.
So it's 48. So 4 heels.
Okay.
Two of
okay.
which are workers. One's a bodyguard, and Russell's not nearly a smart guy by any means, but it's 4 heels. So these 4 heels are being heels, and they're looming over Paddy, this ring announcer, and then Paddy thought the best way to deal with it would be to, I'm not going to back down from 4 heels. Well, I wish you fucking would. I wish you fucking.
Yes.
I'll not back down. This match will rage. I am the ring announcer. Shut the fuck up. It's
The
like
self-proclaimed.
That fucking environment was it was an environment. It was just that kind of.
Martin's froze again. He's taking a hell of a swig. Here he is.
It needed that one person in that environment to just be go and fucking do that. Go and fucking do that.
The self-proclaimed superstars. Did we mention them, Vigo?
Kit Rock and
Kit Rock and oh god, what were the names? Kit Rock.
I can't remember. The guy was called Fraser. Good, because the whole thing there was going to be they were going to eventually work with Strong Oil. And then there was the Pirates going to work with you guys too as well. Captain
Pirates was a
Arcala.
great idea. Pirates would have loved to work the Pirates.
You know, a gimmick where Russell would walk the plank. I don't know how we do it, but we'll find a way to do it.
It's a weird thing that
To actually have him physically walking the plank.
10 years later, we mastered that gimmick and gave it to Captain Allen.
yeah.
I should never made that connection.
It's
Far
the
better
often,
than
no,
ever been anywhere else.
not,
Far
not,
better.
not, I'm not saying that Aberdeen knows best, but we clearly
But they do,
fucking do.
so it's fine.
But we do. Because no.
Well, the plan was that the Pirates
And
would
also with
steal
that,
Sterling
Rick Nitty,
Oil's
so it's
gold
fine.
and everything like that. And it's just, it writes itself. It's great nonsense. So
That's what often gets those is nonsense. Like
good nonsense is good if it's good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of
No,
course it is.
Like the
Yeah,
last
the
match, the last match I ever had was with Alan
Actors.
at the Proving Grounds. It was a academy show, and it like It's a bit ill taste now, but it was like a COVID match. But,
Jesus.
Well,
Oh God,
not aged well.
that's not as well at all.
yeah, it's
I will not.
the
I will not
aged.
defend that one. I will not defend that one.
What was the finish? Was the finish that you coughed on Alan and then rolled
It
him up?
was just very poor taste. Like,
But you were. But you weren't. I know it was funny, but it was so funny.
it was hilarious at the time.
Genuinely did not think it was what was going to end up being.
It's like
No one could have. No one was seeing that.
Like-
We didn't fucking see it come out.
thousands of folk had died for this. We didn't get it at the time. It was funny for us.
No, it was just. It
I was
wasn't.
getting shut down. Nah, it's hilarious now.
It was
Didn't
not
realise that was
malicious.
the finish.
It was just. We didn't know. If you're
We didn't.
offended, cancel us.
That match was so funny. Like the run that Alan was on of just having like just fucking
Nonsense.
barnstorming hilarious matches. Like him and obviously him being together, being the fucking Ernie Wise to his Eric Merkin. And it was just so good. Of like they're such a good pairing together and like straight man, comedy man. And like I say, that match that Hughes had was just again, it was just a fun.
Aye. Like I mentioned this, like the last one with Mikey.
Mikkey broke. I'm sitting there.
like,
I broke, but I'm in the position. I'm lucky enough. I can go and run to the curtain where like the punters cannot see. So I run to the curtain because I'm dying. Malice is sitting doing the music. Malice is sitting just now looking, because he's gone as well. So there's the three of you in the ring, finished, gone, and I'm behind the curtain going.
Like Alan was literally beating the shit out of me in the heat, and I was like, and I could hear like he's pinning me. I could hear Mikey going behind us. And I was like, Mikey, I'm on the verge. Just can you know? Because I'm just right there. That's all I need is one little push, and I'm fucking over the edge. I was like, can you know?
Thing is,
Hey, Mikey is so easy
Because
to break though. Like Dennis is Iceman, but Mikey you can break.
Iceman
away.
Dennis.
He is Iceman.
A good thing with that as well. Like, right there,
You get Martin's
you know,
bandwidth as well, by the way. Or is that just me?
No, I'm getting that as well.
Aye.
Oh wait, man, your bandwidth is low, you know.
Is my
Is
internet
it
playing up?
bandwidth as well, Martin? It's been doing that for a while now.
Your interwebs. He's been downloading all the SW shows.
It's full of viruses. Didn't download them.
Looking for the hell for like
Aye.
like
It's
which
exactly
one
that.
of Scotty Swift has your fucking show? DiBiase hates him. Download down.
Nice. Frozen again.
Martin froze again.
Martin. Oh,
It's working for me.
Martin.
You're freezing, and then like it pops up for us that your bandwidth is low. Is he froze for you guys now?
I can still see both. I
Oh,
can still see the three of you. It's still moving. No,
Yeah, that's
only
weird.
getting in different.
Yeah.
That's what's came up again for me.
Don't know. This is the shit show it continues to be.
Come on, fix it.
I'm in Montrose. I can't fix it for here.
What's it saying?
I'll do some seamless editing, but it won't be. It'll just be. We'll just work around it. It's fine.
I was going to mention to Stu about his ex-wife still owing me money, but
Just carry
Okay.
on.
£352 to be exact.
How many people aren't owed money from either the original Wrestlezone or SWE? How many people aren't owed money?
We tell the story about
The person that's owed the most money is probably still Andrew Mackay.
probably.
For all that apparently never got paid.
And then
For
fucking
which I
Alan Smith.
In fairness, it never got because Stu kept going earlier on. I never got a chance to say aye. But the thing is, Kev was then burying Andrew and Sisto. It's like that's where is.
Yeah,
Again, Martin.
it's very jumpy.
We don't know what you're saying, Martin.
Isn't it? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the call.
Didn't get that. I'm gonna go. Okay.
He's turned into a robot.
I'm going to cut the call and I'll restart my computer and see that it's only good.
Yeah, before you boots.
Aye, so.
Right, Martin.
so Martin, fuck Nick.
Thing is, like, we've got a guy training, right? And he looks like he'd be in the rejected. Like, genuinely, he'd be perfect look.
I feel like there's a butt coming here, but
Huh? No, I've done it. There's no butts now.
like that's
Right before the last lockdown, I had the guy Scott Finnegan, but he stepped away. But he looked like Vago and that. So if he comes back, we've got 3 years. So again,
like there's always a guy like the trainees we get.
Bird.
I always look at like he could be in the rejected, or he could be like there was a trainee we had on the Wednesdays. Like he was there for like 2 weeks. So like, aye, that guy's got the right kind of look, and he was there 2 weeks and he fucked that. He like disappeared. I was like, oh well.
This guy, he's like, his name's Sean, and he's got like, he wears like a bandana, and he's got the beard, he's got the band tattoos and shit like that, and he's like, he looks like he'd be in the rejected. So we'll see.
Like,
there. I mean, like if Vega wants to sing a singles run, we can get you out. If this guy can take your place for Archer, and you can nick off into your singles thing.
That's all I'm looking for. Just somebody.
Perfect.
Just somebody to carry Archer for a few years and get a singles run.
Aye, this boy who's brand new to Ken's fuck all. Unreasonable.
They've been a completely fucked. I can go back in and carry Archer for a few years till he's finished. That's it. That's what I'm looking for at this point.
So basically, we just need to keep Archer safe.
Aye.
Yeah.
We
must protect Archer.
We must protect the Queen. Protect the Queen. Teddy Bunk.
I said like the last episode of Dynamite, it was like he's like, he's Terry Funk, but it's like all that's missing is like when he gets you out of bed, puts his knees down, he's just there with the water bottle and like, yep, that's completely Archer.
Instead of it's obviously it's bandanas instead of bandages, but it's still ruined his knees. It's like
if anything, podcast Vagos and they get Archer over, we're gonna make him a thing. We're gonna make Archer
like he gets mentioned every episode. Like regardless, he's even in the joke now. Like we mentioned, like Dynamite mentioned about being this, like this drunk as you could get. And he said it was a picture of a drunk Archer. Like it was at training last Wednesday, and he was like, "Aye, Archer sent me that exact picture." And he's like, "Is this picture you're on about?" He's like, "Yes." Like Archer's in the joke at this point. He gets just getting talked about and like.
We tell the Archer story about we found him in a ditch up in Aviemore.
I missed this one.
I wasn't on that Aviemore. I wasn't on that one.
I remember you get this one, Scott, do you?
Is this the same?
We found him outside. We found him outside. Remember he went missing?
Yeah, he's fucking dead. Yeah.
It might have been the first one.
Was that the one?
No, we thought he was in a ditch. Sorry, we thought he was in a ditch, dead.
I was only at the first one, so was that same one?
No, because no, is this the same one? Because there might be more than one. So we're in the club. No, the only club in Aviemore. So
awful place.
It's Aviemore, and this was back when the novelty hadn't run out and it was still a good laugh. I got sick of it by the end. It's like, I'm over it now. I don't give a fuck now.
So it was. So you mean after the first time?
After
I think it was second time I was done.
Could you remember when we used to go and the first person in the club was the old guy by himself dancing away?
Creepy old guy. Yeah.
Go back every time and guaranteed this old guy on a dance floor by himself. It's like we
white
walk in,
shirt.
it's like, yeah, you said the old guy's there, yeah. So we're in the club and we had a good drink, and Archer's disappeared. So we're panicking. It's like, well, it's going to be hard to find them because the club's not big. It's a small club, honestly. No. Calling it a club's a fucking insult to clubs. It's tiny. So we're going to the bouncers and stuff and saying, no, we're looking for our friend. He looks like this. He's got a bandana. He's got a beard. He's yay tall. So we're giving descriptions for the staff to find him. So between ourselves and the staff, and probably like random punters, just what's going on? No, we couldn't find him. Then eventually, he just showed up. They showed up, or he wandered back in.
We went outside looking in the ditches and stuff. That's what
That
it was.
was the first time.
Okay.
But then either we found him in. It's like what I think he was
He
literally
just sort of showed up. Just like, oh, what are you doing there?
Yeah, disappeared. And then we said to him, Archer, we've been looking at you. What happened to you? And he said, I quote, I got lost in a hen party.
There was a hen party and Jamie was sitting in between it like the
Just he said it. I got lost in a hen party. Like, what do you mean? It's like we had every fucker in Aviemore looking for you in this club that's like yay big and we couldn't find you. Lost in the hen party. So are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Like, fuck you. You're fine. Like, I'm honestly, with Jamie being drunk, I mean, he's so trusting. It's like, Jamie.
That first Aviemore was sensational, to be fair.
It was good.
Because it's
so
like,
you got locked out of the room by Stevenson.
No,
we booked a hotel the first time. The first time we were there, we'd booked the hotel rooms. So we'd all, after whatever carry on had maybe happened between the nightclub and the hotel room,
yes.
which we got into the hotel room and we all piled into one room. So it's like 12 of us in one room for no reason. For no reason.
That was just glick it, weren't we?
You know, us had decided up in the room, and I think I was sharing with you that night, Scott. And it was just like we're just in the room, just being gapes. And it's like, fuck is going on? It's like we didn't think to bring drink with us. It's like, oh, well, we'll just go after. I'll be fine. I know,
break up again, Martyn.
Aye.
But by 2 o'clock, we're wanting more. And it's just, oh. It was just like, let's just be gape it instead.
Archer's had quite a few tales in Aviemore. There's some we won't tell. So we'll protect the innocent.
Again.
I think there's one tale that should only been told by the person who rescued him.
As I mentioned,
there's no one here.
He's in mind for a future podcast, but we'll get him on and we'll get him to tell that story.
It's not our story to tell. Let him tell it.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
No, we'll get him on and we'll get into. I will push him to tell that story. Because I'm always certain I know the story you're on about, and I'm the guy. Yeah.
That first Aviemore was just so good for just after we got finished with the wrestling, how pissed we all got was obscene.
Warm as well, and we're just it was good.
And I remember being in one of the pubs and some guy was, and yeah, like some guy goes, "Oh, I could show you a magic trick if you buy me a pint." I go, "Yeah."
But with that, I think because Martyn's fucking internet is fucking completely shutting down at this point.
Fuck's sake, fucking internet.
I think we need to do a part 2 and get Stu back on because we are not finished with him.
We were robbed.
We are not finished with him.
But Rob, we'll get back on. We'll get Stu back at some point, and we'll get back into this. And because he's
just to confirm, Stu about half an hour ago said he was in his bed.
he did.
Too much info a part of it, actually.
Like we said, it's because he's near
Oh,
us.
yeah. But it is consensual, so it's fine. Because he's one of the good wrestlers, not one of the bad wrestlers.
He's not comfortable sharing a lot of stuff. It makes him tired. So it's.
Nutrients and fucking seeds.
He was quite happy to share stuff. He didn't need much pushing. Let's be honest.
No, he didn't. No, we're getting more out of him, and I do have. I do want to ask him, does Chaz have one leg?
Yes. We'll get back.
We all want to know.
We all want to know, and we'll get back. Like this is the cliffhanger. We'll get back into it. join us next time and like
Chaz
5-6 minutes of time.
Chaz has got the same amount of legs as Graham Mackay's got ex-wives.
Oh my god! Oh god!
so with that bombshell, so thanks to my guests, Scotty Swift, William Starr, Martyn Clunes,
none of this.
Johnny Lindsay was here before. So this has been another episode of Mickey's Mosh Pit, or the Heavy Mixer as it is this time. But yeah, we'll come back when there's nonsense. We'll get Johnny back and we'll try again another time. So thanks again. And we'll get back to this. So many other nonsense next time. Thanks very much. See you next time. Right, so here we are. We're back in the mosh pit. This is an extra bit because obviously Johnny had to bounce a bit early because he's an old man. He needs to get to bed.
Exactly, my bedtime. You're way too late. I had to go to sleep.
But yeah, but obviously I've got this question I like to ask everybody. So as wrestlers, we like the fantasy book. But because this is the mosh pit and I'm into music big time. Now, I know you're a movie guy, and I don't know how much a music guy you are, but we'll find it. So you're booking your dream gig. So you can hit any 3 bands for any era, alive or dead, broken up or still together, whatever. So you've got an opener, a mid-card, and a headliner. So if you're putting together your dream gig, who's on it?
You're going to surprise you. Okay, so the opener is going to be Pearl Jam, all right? Playing hits exclusively from their album 10. So a nice little short bit like that.
Yep.
Our mid-carder is going to be the fantastic ABBA. We're going to get a bit of Super Trooper. We're going to get a bit of all the ABBA hits. Oh yeah. We're going to get my disco shoes on.
I can roll with that.
But then, the main event.
Right.
Gotta be Queen, baby. Gotta get that Bohemian Rhapsody. Gotta get those big songs, the big guitar riffs. So there you go. That was actually easier than we expected, huh?
It was, aye. Straight in there. No thinking about it, just fire straight in. But yeah, that's a decent gig. I would go to that. Like I'm predominantly a metal guy, but like my mum, she was mad in ABBA, so that's all we like. If mum was driving the car, that's all we got. So I know lyrics to more ABBA songs than I'd like to admit.
Totally. I mean, I like a mixture of things. I mean, like I'll listen to Pearl Jam and System of a Down and Metallica, and then I'll go quickly into ABBA and Queen, Michael Jackson, you know, and then I'll even go into some West End theatre stuff like Les Mis and Greatest Showman and things like that. So I've got a very diverse kind of music taste, I think.
That's the best way to be, I think, is just a bit of everything. And you're not just pigeonholing yourself into one thing. Like I'm this, like I said, I'm predominantly a metal guy, but like I'll hate fucking like James Brown or fucking getting Bob Marley, all this other weird shit that you wouldn't expect a metal guy to be listening to. But so there we go. That's answered that question very quickly.
No worries.
But like I said, you can put over your YouTube channel, like we've seen.
Yeah,
You've just
so-
started your channel, so tell us
Yeah,
what
just
that's all
started a
about.
channel. Yeah, so I've just started. For years and years, I've been a big, massive movie buff fan, and I've always been really into movie reviews. And for years, I've been procrastinating about doing stew reviews. And like backstage at wrestling shows or my friends' kind of friend groups, they would ask me, what do you think of that movie, Stu? And I would go to a big rant or a review. And I found people find it quite amusing when I get really passionate about something.
Yeah.
But why don't I just capture this? So I procrastinated for years about it. And I just thought the other day, last week and a bit ago, all right, let's just start doing it. So I started recording some stuff with no editing, just putting it straight out there. Started off with a cinema etiquette review. If you fancy a laugh at someone going completely mental, watch that. And then from there, I bought myself like a new microphone for better sound quality.
Yeah.
And I started learning how to use some editing. So I've started doing editing. And so what to expect, the channel is Scottish Stews, Rants and Reviews. So it's going to be movie reviews. Whenever I see a movie, I'm going to put a review up. It's going to be weekly rants about various subjects. So I've done cinema etiquette. In a couple of days, these are exclusive. I'm going to be doing, I don't know when it's going out, but the next rant I'm doing is on customer service. So we're going to be talking about the perils of customer service. And then I'm going to be doing weekly wrestling stories. So I've just put up on my channel my worst experience in a wrestling match. I called it worst match, and looking back, it's not a worst match at all, but it's still one of my worst experiences in a wrestling match.
Yeah.
And that's on my YouTube channel now, so I'll let you go and watch it.
So there we go. That's Coach Stu's music gig and his new YouTube channel. Go and get a subscriber, whatever you do. YouTube, I'm still not intelligent.
Subscribe,
You know, there. Subscribe and like, yeah, that's what I tell everybody. But yeah, thanks again for that, and cheers.
You're welcome.